All right, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is the
Hey.
Ham and Cheese podcast,
Hey,
and I'm Cheese.
and I'm Ham.
And let's get right into it. Let's get into the news.
As you can tell, we are the king of intros.
Yes, the intros are just gonna be
Off the chain,
just the
as
best.
the kids say.
It's really gonna hook you. Just really gonna
Yep.
just snag you right there.
It's going to be like a fish hook right in the eye.
Ooh, right in the eye of the people who are wondering about the next gen consoles.
Oh, nice. Nice segue. Nice.
Yeah, I'm really craning around to get that one, but
I was going to say, you know what else is in the eye of the public?
in the eye of the
And
public,
then say next gen consoles. But
besides fish hooks, of course.
Yep.
Right.
So I guess we'll just start off by saying, is Switch considered a next gen console?
Well, I guess part of that would be if you would consider. I guess they're coming out with the Switch Pro.
That's the rumor.
That's the that's the that's what they've the rumor that's been going around, but I'm pretty sure I wouldn't say confirm, but they've been talking about like just an upgraded Switch basically.
I know they filed a patent for basically it was a rework of the Switch. So they filed a patent for the new boards and stuff, and it's supposed to support 4K. So.
Okay.
But
That
according
makes
to the
sense.
patent, it has a skinnier design, and the Joy-Cons don't come off. But it does have a dock feature where you can put it on a TV.
Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of funny. You know, it's really been crazy seeing the growth of the Switch and kind of what they've done with it, and especially since the whole thing kind of started. I mean, I remember like kind of the induction of all the marketing that they were doing for the Switch, and you'd hear the ad come on and you hear the the snap and
Attack. Yeah.
and then they had one of the things that really drew me to the Switch, funny enough, it's just one of the commercials that they played had song by a band called White Denim, and
Okay.
it's that one that's man, I'm pretty sure it's the one that I'm thinking of. It's got like a really funky like groove to it. It's like
Oh, okay.
and I can't remember the ad right now, but I just remember I saw the ad and it was really like I don't know, like it really drew you in because like you see someone playing a game on a TV and then you see them take it off and then they're playing it on the subway and then they go down to the middle of a park and they play it with their friends and they stand it up and they take the controllers off and they can play it together and then they can all play with like controllers on the same one, and it was very, I guess the best way to put it was ambitious.
Yeah, I think that honestly, if the Pro is a thing that they're going to go with, because Nintendo has patented a lot of stuff and then they just never make it. Like they get in the early phases of it and then just whatever.
True.
But if they do make it, I believe it'll probably come with a controller, and so you could still play it in portable mode with the fixed Joy-Cons. But it's really meant to be a home console. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think maybe the dock for the Pro might also be compatible with only the Pro, because they would have to put some extra stuff in there to really beef it up to make it like big.
Right. What I don't understand is they kind of they went with this locking system for the Joy-Cons and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That to me just, I don't know. It never quite made sense. Because here's the thing about the system, like the locking system, at least from what I've seen. I'm not a Switch expert by any means, but I have one. Ariel has one.
I have one.
Yeah, you have one.
So does Ray.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah, and there's not a actual like connection that's bridged. I'm pretty sure when you connect, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't actually connect physically to the Switch.
No, I'm pretty sure that it just wirelessly still uses them as if they're disconnected, but it's just planted onto the side of the console.
Yeah, and it might be that maybe there's like an NFC chip in there, so that when you put
Possibly.
them straight on, that they wirelessly connect or something maybe like that. But I guess the best way, what I'm trying to get at is, like, they could have just used another method of attaching and detaching the controllers from the sides. It makes sense. I really do get what they're going for, but I think what really screwed them up was this whole concept of clipping them in. Sorry, I was stroking out. Clipping them in from the top, having this weird system where you kind of have to hold it weird, and then like you're mashing buttons while you're trying to do it, and it doesn't work quite right. You have to like pinch it with your fingers and be like a freaking heart surgeon while you're doing it so that you don't screw it up. It would make more sense if maybe, I don't know, they were magnetic, or they had like a actual clip-in thing where it actually like you push it into the console and it has like little kind of spring-loaded little clips, and they just kind of clip in, and then you play it like that, and then you can unclip it. So something else, but it just seems like the whole snap in from the top, that whole mechanism, it's always been a problem for the Switch. And then the Joy-Con drift. I don't even understand why the heck that's a problem, except for the fact that it's just cheap parts, I guess.
No, it's due to the design of the Joy-Con. So I'm about to put some knowledge on you that's really confusing. And so you know that Nintendo owns the D-pad, right?
Oh. I did not know that they owned it.
Yeah, if you look at a Nintendo controller, like, say, the GameCube, right? And then you look at an Xbox controller, and then you look at a PS4 controller, they all have different shaped D-pads, slightly. And it's because Nintendo owns the original D-pad. Nobody else can use it.
Wow.
So, Nintendo doesn't have the patent to use the same style sticks for analog sticks, just like the PS4 has their own, Xbox has their own, and Nintendo has their own. But Nintendo's are not as well made as the other two.
So they're just lacking in the ability to produce a adequately designed joystick, I guess?
Well, it's because they have to work around the patents, right? Because if you build it too much like Xbox or PlayStation, then they're going to sue. So you have to change it, but in doing so, there's only a certain number of ways to make a stick go in a circle.
I feel like that would... Man, that's almost like... that's getting really close to like some legal kind of proceedings, I feel like, because how do you even justify... like you just said, like how many different joysticks can you really make? Like joysticks are pretty much unanimous.
Yeah, well, see, it's like this though. This is an exact analogy that I've heard on YouTube before, and it made a lot of sense. Ford was the first car manufacturing company in America, right?
Right.
What if Ford designed the patent for the wheel? Like the wheels on the side of your car?
Yeah, right.
Everybody else would have had to have figured out some other way to make the fucking thing roll.
Right, yeah, right. Having to reinvent the wheel.
Like,
literally.
Like, no, Chevy, you're only allowed to have square wheels. Like,
oh my, yeah. Hexagons.
But it's literally that stupid. But I think that as you get people from our generation more into like legal proceedings as judges and all that stuff, you'll start seeing some of these patents go out the window because they don't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, and the whole patent system too is just strife with issues. Some of which are just because of legal proceedings, and some of which are actually just because people just make patents sometimes to make patents. And like you said with Nintendo, I think we were talking about this before, like Nintendo will just patent something just to patent it. And sometimes they'll patent something for something in the future so that someone else won't make it, even if they don't have the technology to make it.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple examples of stuff like that. It boggles the mind that people think like that. I don't know.
Well, I mean, there is the argument to be made, like, well, they have the idea for it now, they just don't have the ability to make it, therefore somebody else shouldn't be able to come in and take it from them. But I think that the idea of patent working is stupid anyway. I think that you should be able to have a copyright on something. I think that, like, say you created the D-pad, the very first one, right? You should be able to copyright it, but everybody else should be able to use it, just pay a small fee. You get what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
But pay Nintendo 2 cents from every controller you make. You know what I mean? Like,
and to be honest, it would be something astronomically small. Like, it'd be like, okay, you get a quarter of a penny for every joystick that we manufacture. But I mean, or SD pad that we manufacture. But I mean, that would add up. But it's like, it
for every 1,000 controllers, you're going to pay like $100.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, I guess that's still pretty hefty. Wait, $100? Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, it's a quarter.
But it's just one of those things where it's really stupid. I think we'll see a lot of these patents go out the window. Have you ever heard of the Chicago patent fire?
I feel like I have, but
I want to say it was in the 1950s. There was a big fire that happened in Chicago, right? Like a big industrial type fire.
Right.
And it caught the patent office on fire and burnt it to the ground.
Wow.
So all these patents were gone.
Oh, wow.
The only ones they still had was the ones they had backup copies of in other places, right?
Gotcha.
So this dude that was born in the 1940s was like 17 or 18. Mm-hmm. He went to the patent office and looked at what patents had been burned. So he was like going through trying to figure out what they didn't have record of anymore.
Wow.
Right?
Right.
And he registered the patent for the fire the fire hydrant.
Oh my God.
Because it had been burnt. And so now everybody had to pay him.
Wow. That's hilarious. But
he ended up becoming a multimillionaire.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just loophole. It's a loophole. He just got right in. That's so nuts. But that's genius, honestly.
You see the same thing a lot with website domains.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It'd be hilarious if there's already like an earlycurlygaming.com out there somewhere.
Well, the funny, there's something really kind of crazy. A lot of these big companies, sniping website domains like that is illegal, right?
Really?
You're not supposed to be able to do it. You can't sit there and be like, oh, well, NASCAR wants NASCAR.com, so I'm going to sit here and buy it before they can get it, right? That's illegal. Because you're doing it with the intent of just taking it out from under them.
So
right?
I guess they would figure that out if, somebody say somebody made an earlycurlygaming.com, but we started our channel,
prior to that.
Yeah, exactly. Then they would just look at that and say, okay, well, obviously you made that,
just to screw with them. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
But there was this dude, WWE, so like you have to refile for these web domains like I think once every 10 years or something like that. You have to buy them again because what you're doing is you're buying a license to use it. So there's a website on Google and it's not an actual website. It's just something that you can get to if you know the right coordinates to get to it. And I used to sit on this and watch it all the time. And it shows every single domain name and when they come up for auction again. Right?
Wow. This
dude sat and watched the WWE one. And he bought it the day it went up for auction for like, I want to say $100.
Wow.
And WWE freaked the fuck out.
Yeah, I bet.
And instead of taking him to court, they just wrote him a check for $150,000.
Wow.
Just to sign it over to him. Like,
hey, that's awesome. That's freaking awesome. I would have just been like, yeah, okay, cool. Sounds good. I'll see you again next time.
That's funny, man.
I'll see you again in 10 years, guys.
Just get me another check ready.
It'd be a race. It'd be a race to the finish.
I thought about doing it one time, but they ended up renewing their license like 2 days before it come up for auction. So
that makes a lot of sense.
I just think it's funny that he got away with it.
Yeah, for real. That's crazy.
That's not the first time that something like that's happened to WWE either. When they first became a publicly traded company,
Mm-hmm.
something went wrong with their stock, like with the amount of their stock that was up on the table.
Hmm.
And this guy ended up owning 52% of the stock of the company.
My God.
So
Wow.
technically, he was the majority owner of the WWE for like 45 minutes until they figured it out.
That is crazy. So what that means, and that's crazy just in terms of stock holding and companies and stuff like. So at some point, WWE had sold over more than half of the company probably out to other people, and they probably only had like a section, like maybe like 40% of the company. But that's 40%. The other 60% is split up amongst people, so they still have the majority. But that would make sense that if that dude just went out to all the people and was just like, "Hey, can I buy your stock?" And then he gets 52%, and now he freaking basically just owns the company. Wow, that I could see the CEOs of WWE just sitting there pouring sweat. Just
Oh,
like,
dude.
oh gosh,
They figured out about it, and apparently Vince McMahon, that's the guy that owns it all, he
yeah,
called the guy and was like, "What do I have to do to get you to sell me back? Like, to get you under half?"
wow,
And he was like, "Well, I want tickets for like all the pay-per-views this year, and I
huh,
want X amount of money." And he was like, "Done." Like,
done. Wow, gosh. That's crazy. I feel like people are just bullying WWE for some reason.
well, I mean, they kind of deserve it. Vince has some very shady business practices sometimes.
Well, apparently, I mean, he just signs people checks.
But
Apparently, he's really good at that.
back onto the topic of next gen consoles, which ones are you more excited about, the PlayStation or the Xbox?
Oh man, I've been looking at them
Or
both.
either.
Yeah. I've been looking at them both. I'll say this.
I need to know, that way I can get the same one as you do.
Okay. Well, then hear me out right now, because I personally will probably not be investing in either of the Xbox or the PlayStation, and just for this reason and this reason alone, I have not seen either thing or anything on either side besides the new Halo for Xbox that looks like anything that I am really interested in at this point. Correct me if I'm wrong, but okay. What has PlayStation put out like that's not been like a port over?
Okay, what I'll do is I'll actually open Firefox and pull up a list of the games coming to the PS5,
Okay.
and that way we can go through them together.
Okay. That sounds good. That sounds really good.
PS5 launch titles is what we'll look at, because that's really all that we got so far right now.
Right. Because I just haven't heard anything, but maybe I'm ignorant. I'm probably just ignorant.
Well, I think that they have a lot of port over stuff, but they have more. They have more first party games coming than the Xbox does. I know that much.
Gotcha. Okay. That sounds
But
about right for PlayStation.
Xbox also said it's because they're not doing a bunch of first party launch titles, because they're going to have them come out later. Like, they're trying to like stagger them out that way that you don't get all the best games like on day one.
Ooh.
So
What?
let's see.
Why?
Here's the PS5 launch. Well, they said that the reason they're doing that is because they put out like most of their best first party games whenever the Xbox One came out, like within the first year. And then everybody was complaining that there wasn't anything new to play on it.
God.
So,
But here's the thing, like, I don't know. I don't want to hold up too long, but they should not. They should be able to. I don't know. They shouldn't have to worry about the amount of good games that they can put out. Like, I understand if it's maybe just like kind of slow in the market or something. I don't really know, but it just seems like if you're worried about not having enough games to put out, like, I don't know, that's just a crazy thing to hear from like Xbox.
well, I guess it's probably something to do with the fact that they've changed CEOs again to Phil. Remember?
Sure, yeah,
And
right.
so he's probably just trying to figure out the best strategy to like go about.
Well, and he's trying to put his name on as many of the new things as he can.
Yeah.
Too. That's just That's just CEO 101. You step in, put your name on everything.
I think that Xbox has a huge win because of the fact that they bought Bethesda. And it was actually Phil Spencer came on to a talk and said basically like he doesn't foresee a lot of the future Bethesda games coming out on PlayStation. They'll be Xbox exclusive.
Yeah, and then here's the thing though. Bethesda has crushed the freaking hearts of their loyal fans. Like, whatever they put out next, if it does not hold up,
It better be good.
no, listen, yeah, I mean, truly, I truly think that if Bethesda screws up again with Elder Scrolls, whatever they're coming out with now, it's going to tank them. I mean, it's
Well,
just, it
I
probably
think that's
won't.
part of the reason why they sold, though, is because that now they don't have to worry about it. They have Microsoft money backing them.
Yeah. I'll say this: I can see them. I can see them pulling it off. If they can pull it off, then I think people will still like it. There's still going to be plenty of people that are going to play it anyway because they want to play another Elder Scrolls game. So they're going to just play it anyway, even if there's bugs. There's going to be bugs.
Oh yeah,
There will be bugs. There's no doubt about that.
we're not talking about giant spiders either.
No, and not the creepy crawlies. We're talking about the T
Crasher
posing
game top bugs.
and the having no face or head and flying into the atmosphere or falling through the game.
Because Bethesda writes beautiful stories, but they cannot code a system for a video game worth of shit.
Well, they're using an operating system that was based on what, like a driving simulator,
Yeah,
or something. I can't remember. It was something. Been the same engine.
They were using the same engine from Oblivion to Skyrim.
Oh yeah, it's been the same engine for a long time.
Well, it was Morrowind to Skyrim. Was the same engine.
Right.
Do you understand that the Morrowind engine was obsolete when Morrowind came out? Like,
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's just what they do is they just they put a big, huge, coat of stuff around it to try to help it move along. They're trying to kind of grease the wheels a little bit, and they just kind of shine it up, make it look better, and they put better graphics and stuff in. But yeah, it's just inevitably they have bugs because I don't know. It's such a large endeavor, and I feel like they keep trying to go farther with it, but they're stretching out what they can do. Like, they're almost limiting themselves. Does that make sense?
well, I mean, hopefully they can use the Fallout 4 engine to make something cool for Elder Scrolls, I hope. And I'm one of these people that liked Fallout 4. I don't mind the voice acting. I don't mind the linear storyline. I don't mind all that. As long as it's something that's very entertaining and I can still have fun with it, that's all I care about.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, I liked Fallout 4 as well. It was a good game. I had fun. I think the only thing about Fallout 4 was it got really repetitious towards the end, and but other than that, I mean, it was a good game. It was a really fun game. I played the whole thing. I loved it. I loved the game. I'll say this: my favorite of all was honestly probably New Vegas, and the only reason the only reason I say that is because it really threw a spin on what you thought of when you thought of Fallout. But it fits so well. It was such a well-produced game. The storyline was great. The characters were great. You really got engaged with the people. That would be, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, and I'm having like a nostalgia boner right now, but that would honestly be a great game to stream sometime.
But that wasn't even made by Bethesda.
It wasn't. It was, led on by Bethesda, and like the design and everything, was like aided, but it was a whole different company that did most of the work. Like, Bethesda just kind of gave it over to them.
They're the same people that made Outer Worlds.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah. And
you
the thing
know
is,
why it was so good though?
Well, why?
The director of the team who made New Vegas was the same director of the team who made the original Fallout games.
Oh.
So
wow.
he knew what Fallout was supposed to be.
Yeah. Totally. I loved the original Fallout games. Everyone, can hate on them for how, simple they were and the graphics and everything, and like the what do you call it? The turn by turn?
Yeah,
turn-based stuff. But the plot and the atmosphere for the time was so incredible. It really threw you into a new world for a game that time.
Well,
Um,
also another thing that you have to remember too is like he helped create the original three or the original two. There was a third one on the
mhm.
way. Like, if you were Bethesda, would you not look at your fan base that is going, "Oh wow, New Vegas is so great," and then you look at the original two games that come out, and all the fan base is like, "Oh wow, the original two were great," and then you look at the one that you made, which is Fallout 3, and they're like, it's okay." I would hire that guy. Be like, "You're
Yeah.
the one making Fallout now." Like,
Yeah, right. You would think like, okay, dude, obviously you know what we're doing, so we're gonna pay you to just keep making Fallout games, and yeah. But at the same time too, um, I just feel like that's the thing about Bethesda. For whatever reason, they have like weird obsessions with their IP and everything that belongs to them. Like it's it's like that kid on the playground that would bring his toys with him, and he'd like hang out and like play with them, and like he'd let you like see them and stuff, but like you couldn't touch them. And then like someone would come along to try to grab him, and he would just freaking throw a fit, and then of course he'd tell the teacher. But
well,
you
it's
know,
literally one of those things where it's like they sit down in the boardroom and the CEO over Bethesda is like, "Okay, so we have two IPs. One's called Fallout and one's called Elder Scrolls. What
mhm.
should we do with them?" And then one of his boardroom members goes, "Make them trash." And he goes, "Great, that's awesome."
Yeah, yeah, right, exactly. Let's ruin it all. you know. Well, and like we talked about this not last time. I think the time before about Fallout 76. It was just such a
Bag of
ta-
trash.
it's just such a tank on the game, and I don't know. It really shows the direction that people feel like Bethesda's going in. Which once again, going back around in a circle, really is going to be the deciding factor with Elder Scrolls. Like people are going to be ready with fork and knife. Just they're going to dig in. They're going to see what's up, and if it's not up to par, like if they fail out on this one,
Especially because you've had so many fucking years to make it.
and not only that, but especially because it's been such a lead up to like the at the the
Trailers, the teasers at E3, all
well
that shit, where you've been saying that you've been making it for years. So if it's trash this time around, guess what? You can't just say, "Oh, it was due to crunch and blah, blah, blah." You've been making this game since Skyrim came out. Shut the fuck
yeah.
up and finish the game.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's like and like you're saying with that one dude, bring more people on that have ideas on how to progress everything and like what to do next. Like I understand at a certain point with an IP, it gets stale. Look at Star Wars. I'm sorry to say it, but it's stale. It's super stale, and it's because it's been drawn out. It's like a horse that's been beaten to the point where it's no longer a horse. It is something completely different. It was once a horse, and
It
it
is a
is not a
donkey.
horse anymore. It's been beaten into another species.
It
It
is
is
now
now
an
you're beating a
orangutan.
donkey. Yeah, it's now you're beating a dead orangutan. That's how long you've been beating this horse. It has changed species. They've changed it genetically.
It has posthumously evolved twice.
Yes, it has actually developed its own ecosystem.
There is other orangutans living inside of this one.
It's a whole mess, but it's all because it's just I don't know. I get it. You have an IP, you have something, it makes money. You just want to make more money with it. That makes sense. But I don't know. It's like be delicate, dude. You have to be
You
delicate.
don't have to put every fucking stupid idea you have on paper. You don't have to. It's if you're running Elder Scrolls or Fallout or Star Wars or whatever, and you're sitting in the boardroom and you're like, I think that maybe we should kill off all the main characters. Not everybody has to go, "Oh yeah, that's a great idea, do it."
Guys, what we should do with the new Elder Scrolls is we'll put in we'll make it like PUBG and Fallout. we'll have a what do they call it?
A battle royale.
Battle. We'll have it. It'll be a battle royale, guys. We're
It's
gonna
like
make
all these ideas don't have to go into the game. You can say
No.
no. You can say no. That's a horrible idea.
hmm Personally, I would like to see, as a gamer, I would like for a company to come out, and I feel like this had happened before, but it would be honorable for a company to come out like Bethesda and say, listen, guys, we've made X amount of Fallout games, right now we don't have anything else like that we want to pursue for Fallout. We're going to move on from Fallout. We're going to start pursuing another project, maybe. Start doing something else. We're going to keep Fallout on the shelf, as a possible feature, but we're going to go ahead and pursue something else. Because that makes sense. That makes sense for a company to, try to do something else, and then who knows, maybe 10 years later, you'll have another Fallout game that will come out of nowhere, and it'll be something completely new because it'll be new graphics and engines and things that have erupted in the gaming scene. So you never know. But I hate that they feel like, well, we've got to keep releasing a Fallout game. We've got to keep releasing this. It's almost like it's like anything else. It's like seasons of a show or something.
While you were saying that though, it made me realize something. I know exactly what Bethesda's trying to be.
What?
They're trying to be Rockstar. Rockstar has GTA and Red Dead Redemption, and then they have their online modes, and that's what Bethesda wanted to be.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, you're so true. Yeah, that is so true. That's the ideal model. I feel like that.
Not everybody can do it as well as Rockstar does, though.
No, and the simplicity of Rockstar is they just come out with games that just appeal to everybody. Yeah, they do. I mean, who doesn't like a cowboy shoot 'em up game, and who doesn't like driving around in a car and acting like like a thug or something? Yeah, it's like that's that's cool in a video game, and then you can do it with your buddies, But I think we even talked about this before. In another stream. One of the things with Fallout and in Skyrim or Elder Scrolls that I always liked so much was the atmosphere and the story and the plot and all this stuff.
That is not good for multiplayer.
No, and if they're moving towards that Rockstar type thing, like what if the next Elder Scrolls that comes out is just a straight up, just a point-to-point mission-based, just that it's just that, like there's there's barely any fighting, like all the fighting is like super easy, or it's like oh god, what if they even include like freaking button mashing scenes?
Well, but see, the thing is that there's already been a company that did that. There's already a fantasy RPG that's like GTA. It's called fucking Dragon Age, and it's been around for a long time.
Yeah, true.
Speaking of Dragon Age, this is a perfect segue, by the way. The people who made Dragon Age, you know who they are, right? BioWare?
Yeah, yeah, BioWare.
EA just sold the rights to BioWare and Mass Effect the other day.
To who?
They won't say, but they did make the announcement that the team that bought BioWare and Mass Effect are putting out a Mass Effect HD remake, and they are remaking Mass Effect Andromeda, and they are putting out a new Mass Effect game in the series.
Jeez, that's a lot. That is a lot. That's a big endeavor. But that's
I squealed
crazy.
like a girl.
I imagine. Hey,
well, it's because that's one of my favorite game franchises of all time, and to hear them say, "Oh yeah, we're bringing it back."
Yeah. Hey, I gotta say this, and just go ahead and
you haven't played Mass Effect.
Like, I think out of my whole life, I've played maybe a couple hours.
If you're gonna play it, if you want to play it, because you do have the consoles to play it on, play it from Mass Effect 2 first.
Okay.
Play Mass Effect 2. I can even help you because I don't know how to get it, but if we had to, you could log in on my account and
Mm-hmm.
download it. But there's a piece of DLC for Mass Effect 2 that
Mm-hmm.
lets you skip Mass Effect 1 altogether, but it shows you like a little, it's basically like a comic book where you make all the choices that you would have made in the first game
Yeah. Okay.
so that it can carry
Gotcha.
over. The reason
Huh.
they did that is because Mass Effect 1's engine was like really outdated and crappy.
God. Yeah.
And,
That's the one thing. I don't mean to interrupt too
oh,
much,
you're
but
good.
like when I played Mass Effect One, yeah, I think because that's what I tried to do. I remember now. I remember I downloaded Mass Effect at some point. I was like, people have been talking about this game a lot. I wanted to pursue it on my own time. I was like, this sounds like a fun game. I've never actually played it, so I wanted to sit down and play it. And I played the first one, and I want to say I did a lot in the game, but yeah, I was just to be perfectly honest, I was just pretty unimpressed. But I think
It's
it was just
because of the
because
fact that Mass Effect 1 came out at the very tail end of the Xbox being a thing, the original
yeah,
Xbox. And so
right.
they ported it over to the 360, but it was made on the same engine that Knights of the Old Republic was made on.
Right.
So, like,
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. That makes sense though.
but Mass Effect 2 is fucking great. It is one of the greatest games of all time.
What? Oh, and that came out on the 360, right?
And PS3, yeah. And
And
PC.
PS3. And yeah, aren't they all PC games as well, right?
I don't know if Andromeda ever came out on PC or not.
Okay.
It might have, but don't hold me to that. It might not have.
No worries.
But
Uh,
it's really good. Start with 2, play 3, and
mm,
then play Andromeda. But if you decide to play Andromeda at any point, just realize that it moves really slow in the beginning. But the reason
mm,
is because they were trying to introduce a whole new story because it was supposed to be like this is also in the same universe. You get what I'm saying? Like you don't
gotcha.
know these characters.
Right. Like we're kind of taking a turn over here, you know. Like, same shiz.
But I'm very excited about them coming back. And actually, dude, if they do re-release them all, that would be a
hmm
perfect time to play them all because they would be remastering all of them, which means that Mass Effect 1 might actually be fucking playable.
That would be very interesting to see. Actually, that'd actually be very nice to see if they really rework um Mass Effect One, like the first one.
But to wind us back in here, these are the
hmm
PS5 launch games.
Okay.
We'll go through them. Number 1 is Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I think is coming out on everything, right?
Um, I couldn't tell you.
It's Assassin's
Val-
Creed, so I'm assuming
which which one is it?
Valhalla, the one with
Valhalla.
the Vikings, where you play as Vikings.
Oh, you play as Vikings?
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Um, and then the second one is called Astro's Playroom, which is just like it's kind of like you know how basically every console has that one launch title where it's like this is just a test disc to basically show you everything the console can do.
Yeah. Okay.
Number
Right.
3 is Borderlands 3, which is already out, but they're porting it over. Number 4
Gotcha.
is Bug Snacks, which looks really fun. It's a game where you play as bugs. Think like a Bug's Life, but video game form.
Mm. Huh. Okay.
Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War,
Mm.
Dead by Daylight, which has been out forever,
Yeah.
a Demon's Souls remaster, Devil May
Mm.
Cry 5 Special Edition, which has been out forever, uh, Dirt 5,
Dirt
Fortnite.
5?
It's a racing game. Dirt 5 is a
Mm.
racing game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I gotcha.
Fortnite, because we can't live without it.
Mm.
Uh, Godfall. I'm not sure what that one is. I'm going to click on it and find out. What is
Godfall.
this Godfall? Ooh, that looks really cool, actually. Godfall is a self-titled looter slasher. It is on the PS5. It's about
Looter
stylish.
slasher.
Yeah, it's about stylish melee combat and getting bigger and better gear. So from everything I see here, it's kind of like Diablo. So if you
I
like
was about to
Diablo,
say, it's just yeah, Diablo. Okay. Huh.
a Gunya Fighter, which is kind of like it's a party game,
Mm-hmm.
like Mario Party. Um,
Okay.
King Oddball, which has been out for a long time. Man Eater, which has been out for a little bit. Uh, Spider-Man Miles Morales, which I'm really excited for, but it's also coming to the PS4. Spider-Man
Mm.
Remastered, which was on the PS4. Mortal Kombat 11 on the PS4.
Mm.
NBA 2K21. No
Oh,
Man's
great. Nice. That's what I was really waiting to hear.
No Man's
Another
Sky.
NBA game? It's only going to get better with this one, isn't it? I heard they're going to put ads in this one.
They are. No
Dude.
Man's Sky. Observer System Redux, which is something that I really want to play
Hmm.
because I like the original Observer. But
Hmm.
this time they're using the dynamic lighting and all that stuff for the PS5 to make it really scary.
Mm.
Um, Overcooked, which has been out forever. The Pathless, which I've never heard of.
Mm.
Planet Coaster, which is like a
Yeah.
uh, roller coaster tycoon type game.
Yeah.
Poker Club, of course, Sackboy,
Mm.
Warhammer, Watch Dogs Legion, and another racing game called WRC9.
Gotcha.
But that's it.
That is
A weak
a
lineup.
fairly unimpressive list. I do want to say one thing that made me think about when we were talking about this. What are your thoughts on No Man's Sky as of today?
I hope that it's better. I haven't tried playing it again.
Okay, I never played it when it first came out because I saw everyone else play it and I saw all the craziness that came out, and everybody just completely dumped on it. Deservedly, it did not perform. Everyone's kind of dreams were crushed. I remember people were so hyped up about it, and then it just did not perform. But, and that's a big old but
Big juicy
right here, a big but. They turned around and did a full freaking 180 and just like started pushing stuff out, and from what I understand now, it's actually a decent game. It actually runs good. It has good questing, or the progression is nice. Like there's a lot of stuff they added in. Like they put out a ton of like expansion packs, since the inception. So I would actually be interested to see how it plays now, but I don't know. Have you heard of all that since the release?
I heard it, but I haven't tried it yet because it burnt me so hard the first time I played it.
Yeah, for real, for real. And I never played it, so I guess I'm kind of blessed from the actual physically getting into
But
it.
hold on just one second. Let me look.
Okay, another big old butt.
I still have it on disc for my PS4, so I could totally
Eh,
pop it in one of these days and tell you if it's any better.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, you know, I've seen people talk about it, and I saw a video, honestly, by a YouTuber named Have you ever heard of Internet Historian?
Yes, I have.
Yes, he made a video talking about it, and it really goes into detail. It's actually a really good video. It goes into detail about what really happened, like the rise and fall of the company, and then the rise again, basically, and how they did like a phoenix. They kind of rose from the ashes. They came back out. They said, "All right, we gotta pick up our stuff and like actually move on with it." And they actually pulled some stuff together. They actually made it work again.
That's cool.
Better.
Though. That's good.
But like I said, it was just one of those things. I didn't know if you'd heard about all that. I didn't know because there's a whole. I remember just No Man's Sky basically was just. It was another one of those games.
Crap its pants.
Yeah, it was another one of those games that everyone just has an immense amount of salt for. It's a salty video game.
Speaking of something that we don't have salt for and has never done us wrong, but also has an update that came out and I haven't read yet. Let's talk about DaVinci Resolve's 17th update.
Yes. I was kind of just glancing through that article, so let me
Over
pull it back up real
300
quick.
new things coming in this release. Oh, good lord.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, so I guess I was looking through that. There's new grading tools. Is one thing they were talking about. It's
They're
like,
implementing an AI masking tool, which is kind of cool.
oh, I think I've heard about this, where you can actually, didn't they do this with the iPhone?
I think so.
Basically, I think they use the same AI or something similar to where you can actually change basically lighting with like digitally almost. Like you can actually go in and it will digitally process like faces and stuff, and it will
Oh,
actually be able to like kind of figure out lighting angles and relight things.
dude. Yes.
Isn't that nuts?
We're getting a cutting page.
Oh, a cutting page.
It says, where do I begin with this one? The cut page has been given quite a few new tools to not only make things faster, but also reduce the need to enter your edit page for some of the functions. One of the standout pieces of this new
Oh.
functionality is the way that clips will be able to be viewed and grouped easily. For example, you can group according to the scene and scrub through just those clips in the source tab. The page has been redesigned to appear better on small screens such as laptops. Editing audio has also been made easier by using the audio trim function and dragging the clips to show full high audio waveforms on the page, allowing you
Hmm.
to easily find a cut point in relation to the sound. This is a much needed addition because previously you would have to enter the edit page to do this as well.
Right. Wow, that's nice.
Sweet.
Gosh, so yeah, that's gonna make things a lot easier, dude. DaVinci Resolve is awesome. I've been getting super into it, and you know who else has been getting super into it? Is Earl.
It looks
She's
like they
been
have something else for you guys here too, but go ahead.
okay. I was just gonna say she's been cutting through videos like a champ. Um, we're getting into October already. So hopefully soon we're gonna be dumping videos on YouTube like nonstop. I know we already are. RIP to everyone's subscription page that's just littered with videos from us.
Oh, dude. This is going to be really nice for us in the future.
Mm.
The new collaboration tools.
Ooh.
You can communicate directly on the timeline to use remote collaboration tools that are incredibly valuable. Full tracks can be kept to who is working on specific segments of editing and finishing. Specific users can take ownership of a segment, while the new text-based files means that the grades and the Fusion nodes can be easily sent to someone else via email. For example, the new Resolve timeline can mean that the progress can be sent via email and loaded straight into their Resolve to be able to see the exact results.
Huh. Wow.
Meaning you could half cut a video, and if you had to go somewhere, you could email it to me, and it would stay cut the way it was. Like it would look exactly like your editing station, and then I could just pick up where you left off.
Huh. Wow.
That's freaking cool. And
that
did
is
we
nuts.
mention this is free?
Yeah. Yeah, for real. What pros? What pros for real? Yeah, that's nice. And then I'm looking. They have a couple new additions for the edit page.
Oh, they got a new hardware piece that I think we should get. That would be cool.
Oh, I saw that. The speed editor.
Hardware.
Yeah, that's is pretty
cool.
I'm gonna zoom in on that.
That's
picture.
the type of tools that I used when I worked at the television studio.
Wow. So yeah, they've got trim in, trim out, roll.
That's literally
cut.
like a baby version of what my production studio tools looked at whenever I was a director and producer.
Yeah. Wow. Blackmagic design. That's awesome. Cam 1, Cam 2, Cam 3.
That's so you can live switch cameras on the go.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So can you record straight through in DaVinci Resolve as well?
Blackmagic Design has their own thing that's kind of like OBS. It's its own like recording software.
And then it like just works directly with.
Yep. Actually, that's the recording software we used when I worked at the television studio. It was Blackmagic Designs, because it would literally, once it finished recording it, instead of saving it to the recording computer, it would save it to the DaVinci Resolve in the back computer at our editing station. So we never had to transfer anything. It just auto did it itself.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well,
Man, DaVinci Resolve is cool.
this is cool. So the edit page, it says text and video can now be easily warped and reshaped with easy keyframing. An example that was given was some titling text being made to look like it was on the window of a shop. Some quick real-time warping, and two keyframes later, and it looked like it was pasted onto the window and it was moving with the camera.
That's cool.
That is super cool. So you could actually just throw in something in the video in the edit page, and by using the keyframes and a couple tools like warping it, you could have it pan with the camera, or stay in frame, or no, pan with the camera, and like I guess like just kind of warp with the whatever you're placing it over.
That's cool, man.
That's nice. Let's see. Oh, cool. A new render in place function lets you render a portion of the timeline, but then be edited or moved around the timeline without the need to render again. This is different from catch renders, which need re-rendering once a change has been taken place, or has taken place. Sorry. This could help speed things up, even on slower machines. Oh, that's nice. That's cool. Yeah, they wow, they put a lot into this.
Did you see the Fairlight audio editor?
Oh, wow.
Fairlight can now support up to 2,000 tracks of audio at a time.
Good Lord. God. Why?
Well,
Why?
because stuff like John Wick 3 was made completely on DaVinci Resolve.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I could see it. I could see a lot of people making, very credible movies with DaVinci Resolve. It's a very powerful video processing tool.
Very underrated, I think, too.
Hugely underrated. And honestly, like, it's one of those funny things. Like, I feel like I'm using DaVinci Resolve, and Earl's been using DaVinci Resolve, and it's like it's like I'm trying to rein in like this giant beast.
Yeah.
Like a freaking massive like elk or something. And it's like I'm riding him, but I don't realize, just how freaking powerful this beast underneath me is. Like
you're riding
there's
him,
so
but you're
much.
not riding him at full speed yet.
No, not at full speed. And I'm a little ignorant to the fact that at any point, it could just overwhelm me. I don't know. It's just crazy. There's so much that you can do in Resolve, and I feel like I've barely tapped the surface of it. I know how to cut and edit, and I can throw together a little animation maybe.
Well, see, that's the thing that I love about it, though, is because it's easy to use, but hard to master. So, like, once you get in there, you can clip together little videos. Like, if you just make, like, playthrough videos, or you just make some stuff like, I don't know, like vlogs or whatever, you could do that really quickly in DaVinci Resolve. But if you're somebody who makes videos like that, and then one day you sat down and you were like, I want to make a full feature-length movie, it would do it. It has the ability to do it.
Yeah. Well, and it's been nice. Like, we've been pretty much just practicing with Resolve, just with the streams, because and once again with Earl, it's nice for her because she's been able to just come in here into the office, and just sit down and cut up videos, and it's been a great learning experience, and both of us have become really comfortable with it. So it's one of those things. I'm super happy that, well, for one, that you told me about this, but also, there's so many possibilities with it. So I feel like at any point, if I wanted to do something else with it, I just need to invest my time more. Just learn, just keep checking it out.
Well, see, that's the thing too, right? It's all a time investment because they're not asking you for any money.
Like, right.
And it's really smart because DaVinci Resolve is a wonderful piece of hardware, and it doesn't, or software, and it doesn't cost anything. And then once you get it and you start using it, you're like, wow, I really trust Blackmagic Design because they make good stuff. At which point,
Yes.
then, if you want to go buy their hardware and stuff that they make, then you
Yes.
trust them already. You know, like,
Yes. That's a amazing business model. Um, I feel like more software out there should be, either free or fairly cheap. And I'll say this: it's for the reason that the people that want this software, for the most part, are not going to be big name, high dollar individuals. You know, a lot of content creators, I feel like, honestly, start out, just
Windows Movie
normal.
Maker, baby.
Oh yeah, I have made plenty of videos in Windows Movie Maker.
Wendy's Movie Maker.
Wendy's Movie Maker. God, it's all greasy.
It has cheese on it for some reason.
Everything's a meme.
There's also bacon everywhere. I don't know how that got there.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, God, yeah, coming from Windows Movie Maker to Resolve, it's been a journey, and I figured it out. But God, it's like getting out of a freaking, I don't know, like a Honda Civic and stepping into like a
Sitting
a
into
jet.
a McLaren.
I was gonna say like a freaking like a helicopter. You look down at the controls and you're like, oh God, dude, you're sweating.
It's
Your
like
eyes
getting
get
off
all
a
wide.
moped and being asked to drive like a jetliner.
Right. All right, you got to call in. You got to report your altitude and everything. What?
The sky.
Yeah. I am in the sky. I had a buddy from high school who went on to he got into what's it? Aeronautics.
That's cool.
So, yeah, he's like he's getting into
Aerospace engineer.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like getting into aerospace engineering. So he's literally becoming a rocket scientist.
Rocket man.
So now when people say, well, it's not rocket science or something, I can be like, yeah, but
I
I've got a
if you needed
buddy.
me to.
Well, it's like I've got a buddy who actually does do rocket science, so it's definitely not rocket science because he's told me about what he has to do. Well, yeah. Well, here's the thing. He was telling me this one thing. So this is crazy. A little piece of information if you don't know this. If you ever wanted to fly a plane, I'm pretty sure anything in the air, really, that to a certain dimension. I don't know if like hot air balloons would apply.
I'd like to fly a wagon.
Yeah, exactly. Or fly a chair strapped with helium balloons.
Yeah.
But anyway, the main thing is you have to get a license to be able to fly a plane. That's pretty obvious. You have to go through training and everything. But the thing about getting a license to fly a plane, it's funny. It's pretty similar to getting a license to drive a car. One of the things you have to do is you actually have to get like a certain amount of fly time in, and it's 40 hours of fly time. So my buddy had to, actually fly a plane, like across the country or between states or whatever. To get 40 hours, I guess he had to do it through a program or something. Like they had something with, he had to fly like a commercial plane, or I can't remember what it was. But at one point he said he had to go over a sea, and he was like, "Dude, it's the weirdest feeling because you're just flying over an ocean, and it's just water, and you know where you're going, but you don't like, and you know when you're gonna get there, but you're just going in a direction. Like you have the controls and everything set up. If you know what you're doing, you're pretty much okay because you've got a lot of modern technology to help you, but it's just weird. You're just flying over a body of water forever for hours, And then the craziest thing about all of it, about anything with like aeronautics, basically. And this is universal. This is or not universal, but for everything on Earth, especially the United States, everything in the air has to be documented. They keep like constant track of upper atmosphere and air, things flying through the air. They want to know what's going on. So like every plane is tracked. They know where all of them are. There's radar that's always telling. So like the crazy thing about that too is like if you're an airplane, blah blah blah. If you're an airplane pilot and you're coming into a airport to land, you have to get on a radio with the person in the radio station in the tower and tell them, this is blah blah blah. This is John Smith flying for blah 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 airlines. Plane model, something something, whatever it is. My registration number is this or that. Our altitude currently is X. Our speed is X. Our how much we're dropping is X. They have to go through and they have to list off like all this shit, like just a list of stuff to verify whatever. And if they get anything wrong, they have to start over, and they can't land until they verify. So like if they don't have all the information, if they don't do it right, like they'll have to turn around, come back around, like make a huge loop and try again. But it's for the fact that they have to know all that stuff before you land, or else there's even times like if it's military, like if you're trying to land in a military base and you don't verify, they'll either escort you out with jets or they'll be liable to just shoot you down.
Wow.
Because it's just they have to know.
Oh, I do have a question for you, and it stays
Yeah.
on the topic of aeronautics and all that.
Cool.
So the CIA earlier this year confirmed that there has been UFOs sighted and that certain videos are real. What is your thoughts on outside life?
Well,
That's a deep subject.
Yeah, it's a good subject. Me and Earl have a little bit different on theories. So when she hears this, she's probably gonna be like, "Babe." But anyway, I don't know, man. I don't honestly think that we have any actual proof of aliens. And I think that there.
I just want to clarify that the government has come out and said that these videos are in fact unidentified flying objects. I'm not saying they're alien ships. I'm just saying that they can't pinpoint how they move so fast, why they move so fast, or where they're coming from.
I have seen one video that was debunked. That was a video. It was one of the ones that was released by the CIA with an object, and they're flying over it in a jet, and it seems to be following them, basically, and it's flying like extremely fast. You can see stuff rushing behind it. It looks to be going like extremely fast. I don't want to say like, it was straight up debunked. I mean, you can speculate all you want. They still don't even really know what it was, but there's a large speculation that it was really just a bird, but it was the perspective. They were so high up, and the bird was so high up, and the ocean was so far below them that they were flying over, and they were super zoomed in on the bird, and they were tracking it, and the ocean just looks like it's rushing by the bird because they're rushing by the bird, and the perspective shift is what makes it look all crazy. But
so I've heard the argument of birds before.
Yes.
And there is I don't know if you've ever heard of it before, but there's a UFO sighting video, and it's called the Tic Tac. Okay? This thing goes from over 100,000 feet in the air to just under 100 feet in the air in less than a second with no jet-related propulsion system.
Hmm.
And for years, people said it was a bird, right?
Mm.
But there's been
Huh.
aviation scientists that have said that a bird, its internal body temperature would have been
Mm.
hotter than that ship in order to pull it off, because that ship was reading only like 60 degrees Fahrenheit.
Hmm.
And a bird would have to be well over 100 degrees Fahrenheit to pull off a drop like that.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just think here's my opinion. If there is an alien species that has successfully gotten here and it has traveled through space to get to us, I don't believe that it would be that dumb, to like, be caught. I just don't think it. And then
Unless
like
it wanted to be caught on purpose.
I don't know. Here's the thing. I've heard so many. I feel like I'm such a doomer sometimes. I really like. I've seen so many like debunkings and like explanations and all this stuff, and it just makes me so melancholy because I'm like, oh yeah, everything sucks. but but okay, hear me out. Like Roswell. Roswell was like a big conspiracy for like the longest time, and it still is. And it wasn't until fairly recently, I want to say, that they finally came out and they dumped all the information about Roswell, like they declassified it all. So it's like almost completely declassified. I think there's still some things that they had to keep classified for whatever reason. But here's the thing: what happened with Roswell was a large unidentified object fell down into the back of a farm of a guy out in Nevada. Basically, in a span of time, that site was quarantined off, all this stuff. Like there's a huge media outrage that came up, and everybody started speculating what's going on. Like, what's the government doing? Like government's up to something. What are they doing? They're hiding something, obviously, because they wouldn't talk about it. And then it came out like, oh, it was something related to the Russians because it was during the Cold War. So everyone's paranoid about the Russians and the communists, and they all think that it's this and that, and it's all kind of hush hush, and then eventually catches on that it was aliens, and that it was alien technology, and they confiscated it and they're testing it and all this stuff. What really happened, and once again, I mean, this is, I'd say, I mean, it's not speculation because this is what they declassified, but people don't trust the government anyway. So, and it makes sense. This is what happened. It was a weather balloon, or not a weather balloon, but it was a what's it called? It was basically a microphone. It was a seismic microphone. And it was a test that was performed back in the day. They have all these accounts of, basically the proposals by the scientists of like what they were trying to do. They were trying to put microphones up in the upper atmosphere to listen for things like atomic detonations, jet travel, stuff like that. They figured out that if they could put microphones up in the upper atmosphere in certain places in the upper atmosphere where the airstreams are, a certain way. I don't know everything about it, but they would be able to hear a detonation of, say, like an atomic bomb over in Russia, through the upper atmosphere, and they'd be able to tell like what they're doing. And the whole point being, they've got to be in the know, because if Russia at the time, of course, was USSR, if they were detonating warheads, they wanted to know about it. They want to know because they're over there. If they're testing stuff, they want to know how far they're getting with this testing. Eventually that stuff was replaced with seismographs. So now they do seismic testing, and they probably still even do like upper atmosphere stuff. But the reason why it was all hush hush is because they didn't want anybody to know that that's what they were doing. They didn't want to tell not only the general public, but have the fear of that getting back out to, Russians or to anybody else, that they were putting stuff up in the upper atmosphere to listen in. So then that's when they actually, I think at some point they did come out and say that it was just a weather balloon, and they covered it up like that. And that's where the conspiracy started, I want to say. But I guess what I'm trying to say is it's one of those things. I think sometimes things happen and it's weird and nobody explains anything, and it's because something, I don't know, it's because people are just secretive and colluding or whatever, so you got the US government, they're all hush hush, especially during the Cold War, because they just don't want anybody to know what they're doing. And this was also around MK Ultra, so they did a whole bunch of shady crap, but it wasn't aliens.
I have a couple questions, and I want you to answer them for me, and then that way I can get a basis of what your thought is, right?
Okay.
So number one, you obviously said like the government can't be trusted by a lot of people, because of the fact that if they're going to do MK Ultra and they're going to do all this other shit, why wouldn't they just straight bold-faced lie to you to your face?
Yeah, makes sense.
But
yes,
two questions. Number one is, we are intelligent life that has broke the atmospheric barrier of our planet already, right? And we did this back in like the 80s and 90s, whenever computers barely had like 200 megabytes of RAM. Right?
Yeah, right.
And now we have like phones that have like 8 gigs of RAM. So
well, and I don't mean to interject too much, but even before that, we've even had radio waves and stuff that have broadcast out of the atmosphere. There's a lot of speculation that people say, like, if there is intelligent life, to a certain degree outside of our realm, our universe or part of the universe, they would probably be able to pick up some of these waves and probably be able to tell certain broadcasts, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just continuing on. Yeah, we've been an intelligent species for a while, doing a lot of stuff like that.
And we have been moving at a rapid rate, right? So if you compare the 80s to the 1980s to the 2020s, which is not that far, it's only like 40 years. We have evolved from the point of having computers the size of a room to a computer in your pocket. So
yes.
and they're going to keep getting smaller as all this stuff keeps expanding. We're going to keep building smaller and smaller so we can fit more and more power behind it. But why would, and I'm not saying that you do think one way or the other, I'm not like pointing a finger at you, but what would make you think that there isn't life out there that can already travel through space?
I don't disagree with that. I think that they're okay. I'll put it this way. Let me explain a little bit of kind of my theory. I do believe that there is life outside of our world. Most definitely, there would be absolutely no way that there wouldn't be, and for the sole reason of there's so much out there, and there's so. It's like, I want to say, I look at it like this. The universe to me is like endless possibility. So if human life happened, or if terrestrial life happened, life on Earth happened, that can't be freaking, I mean,
we can't
the
be
chances
the only
of
ones.
Not only that, but like that would mean that life on Earth is infinitesimally a small chance of happening.
Like we would be such a small, intelligent life like us would be such a small chance of happening that it would be a huge blip on the radar to everything else, because it would be like, this is not supposed to fucking happen. Like,
yeah, and then if we were the only life out there, then I would be going to all the people that are like, I don't know, that don't care about the environment and be like, what in the heck are you doing? Because you're just, ruining the only life that's in the whole universe. Anyway, it's just one of those things. I think the other point too, and especially this is kind of something that I've always thought about for like non-believers, people that don't believe in aliens, which I feel like is less and less becoming a thing. But there's still people out there that I feel like just would not believe you if you told them that, there were aliens or something. um, like it would be so lonely to know that the universe is, you know, astronomically huge, literally astronomically huge, to the point where you can't even fathom. You know, here's something that always boggles my mind. We literally define the universe as the observable universe.
Yeah, because it goes
That
so
is,
far away. There are billions and billions and millions and trillions of solar systems within this universe, and then there are
yes,
billions of trillions of millions of billions of universes. Like,
yes, yeah, yeah. And then the thing is, like, yeah, we can only see to the reaches of our technology, and the farthest that we look out at the very edges of our scope, of our realm, of what we can see, there is still stuff. Like, it just keeps on going.
and
There
that's
is
not even to
no
mention the
way.
fact that everything we're seeing is from the past.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well. Yeah. Yeah. And then yeah. Well, that too. That boggles my mind. But like, there's no way that there's not life outside of our solar system. That's for sure. There's probably even life inside of our or not solar system, but at least our galaxy.
I think that it's possible
Um.
that there's life inside of our solar system, but I don't think it's intelligent life.
Maybe. Yeah.
Like we're
Um.
because and the reason I say that, just to get off on a little tangent here,
Mm-hmm.
they said I was because I love space, dude. Space is like
Mm-hmm.
one of my favorite things to talk about. I just love everything about it. But
Yeah.
Venus, right?
Yes.
That's the greenhouse planet, and
yes.
it shows a lot of the same signs as either one of two situations. Either it
Mm-hmm.
shows a lot of the same signs of the Earth whenever it was just becoming a habitable planet, whenever it was in its greenhouse phase, or
Mm-hmm.
it's showing the signs like Mars did just before it died and became a desert planet.
Right.
And they don't know which is,
Right.
they don't know what it's doing because we haven't observed it long enough to tell. But
Right.
there could be stuff like birds and weasels and like small mammal life or even big lizard life one planet, 2 planets away.
Yeah. I mean, you never really know. I'll say this. I think that at one point there very well could have been life on Mars.
There's been
I don't.
signs.
Yeah, I don't think that there necessarily is like intelligent life, but I think at one point there very well could have been life. Here's one other thing about, like, I don't know, just life in general and how the world interacts around us. We forget sometimes how when you get to like the simplest forms of life, how different that life is, that form of life is, from what we consider life.
Life.
Like
Yeah.
in an amoeba, like a cell, like a tiny little single celled algae floating around. Like the world to them is molecular. The world to them is incredibly different. Water is like in a completely separate or a completely different world for them to live in. It's just one of these things, like like then you look at Mars and you look at like things on Mars and how they came to be and everything, and it's just like there's so many different processes out there, and these things have been going on for so long. It's just one of those things that boggles the mind to think like how it came to be, but then you realize it's been going on for millions and millions of years or billions or however. I don't know.
Well, see, our planet alone is only like what 400 million years old, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Now, just imagine if our planet's like 400 million years old, and to the best of our knowledge, at one point in time, we were two planetary bodies that crashed into each other. One became the moon, one became the Earth, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
That means that the other planets were probably here long before that. Like, as far as life being on our planet, it's been very short compared to how long Mercury's been here. You know, like
Yes, definitely. I mean, like that stuff's been going on for a long time, way longer than
we're just a
Earth.
blip on the radar compared to them. Like,
Hmm. I just swear, like I wish that I don't know. I'm almost to the point, like in my lifetime, if there's a way I can like upload my conscious to like the collective or something at some point before I die, I think that'd be a great endeavor because I at least want my conscious to be able to witness. Like, I just want to see humans be able to finally go out and actually like travel to like the outskirt planets and like be able to step on like um
Saturn.
Saturn or like the moons of Saturn or the moons of Jupiter or
Well, see,
whatever.
that's another thing that I
Um,
really hate is whenever a lot of these scientists they try to be like hoity-toity assholes, and they're like,
mhm,
"The moon of Jupiter could not have life on it because it's not carbon-based," and it's like you do understand that not
mhm,
all life has to be carbon-based. You're just making this rule up on your own because we're a carbon-based life form, and every life form you've ever studied is carbon-based because we live on a carbon-based planet. But that doesn't necessarily
right.
mean that other life couldn't evolve other places that aren't
Hmm.
carbon-based.
Here's a kind of mind bending theory, and this is where it starts to delve into. Hopefully, I won't piss off any creationists, so just hear me out. But one big
We
theory
don't
and one
hate you
thing
or
that
God, just so you know.
no, it's just this is science, so just sit down and purse your lips, and you can
Enjoy the
rant
show.
about it later. But anyway, yeah, the main thing is like there was a big theory that was thrown my way a while back about like people always speculate the beginnings of life. Like we know we came from, or I say we know, some people still don't believe this, but we all evolved eventually over millions of years from single-celled organisms all the way up to the complex monstrosities that we become.
Can I butt in for like half
um
a second?
Go ahead.
Whenever he says evolve, for those of you that are creationists out there, we're not saying that a monkey was walking around and then one day it was like, hello, my name is Cheese. That's not what we're saying. It is an adaptation, meaning that we share a single family member somewhere in the gene pool,
Hmm.
meaning that there was at one point in time a monkey type primate thing, because believe it or not, humans are primates. That's where we sit on the
Hmm.
scale. And it
Right.
was called, like, let's just make up a name, Tocatl cassificus. And then that little groups of Tocatl cassifici spread to
Right.
different parts of the world. And some of
Hmm.
them became orangutans because they adapted to their surroundings. And then
Yeah.
some became Neanderthals.
Yeah.
Like,
Hmm. Yes. Yeah, and they just slowly and
it took
surely grew.
thousands of years.
And yeah, and then you look at all the different animals nowadays and you look at the relationships between them, and it's like, how do you not see that? I guess the other thing too about evolution is it's very very minuscule over time, and on top of that, it's it's subject to so much change. There's so many things that can go on, and it can diverge and converge, and it can be, like it can be rapid or it can be slow. It could be something that just pops out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, it's a new adaptation. Um,
Well,
but
see,
but but
I have a
anyway.
perfect example of this.
Hmm.
If you want to ever explain to somebody about how adaptation works, all you really
Yeah.
have to talk about is our useless organs. Some humans have
No.
useless organs, like the gallbladder, not used for anything. We have the
Right.
appendix that can be taken out and you can survive. Your tonsils.
Hmm.
But at one point in time, all of those had a purpose. They did something.
Right.
Now they're just
Hmm.
there because we haven't adapted to not having them yet. But there are babies being born now, as of
Hmm.
2018, that are being born without an appendix at all. It's just not there.
Wow. Wow, that's nuts.
That,
I actually haven't
which means that we're
heard of
taking
that.
an evolutionary step to getting rid of that organ because we don't need it.
Well, that makes sense. It's basically it's uh basically vestigial, I guess is the best way to put it.
Well, it's just like a
Um
vestigial tail.
yeah.
We don't have tails
Right.
anymore because we didn't need them. We grew into
But
an area where we didn't need them.
but sometimes people will be born with vestigial tails. It's a leftover.
Yep.
It's a relic.
If you want to think about it like this, imagine like you wiped your hard drive on your computer like a bunch of times, right? And that hard drive, it doesn't actually throw away any of your data. It just compiles it down.
Yeah.
So
right.
Eventually what could happen is on your fifth or sixth time erasing something, you might accidentally stumble upon a fragment of what was left.
Right.
And that's what happens with their DNA. So whenever the baby's being created and the DNA is being put into the baby, it for some reason just checks off the list of it needs a tail. Like
right. Well, here's something else that is crazy interesting that really also just kind of outright proves evolution. And it kind of goes over some people's heads, and it's one of those things like, you know, I feel like if anybody that doesn't believe this much, you know, at this point, like, this isn't really going to make any difference to you. I feel like if you don't believe this, but viruses are a really, really interesting, you know, form of life. And one big thing about viruses is all they basically are is what is, you know, referred to as RNA. You know, it's basically just a half of a DNA strand. It's just there to encode. So basically summed up, virus attaches to a cell, injects the RNA. The RNA is just a script. The cell parts, they don't know it's foreign. They just see, hey, that's what I've got to do, so I'm going to do it. Well, they don't know that script tells them to produce more viruses. So that's what happens. So the virus injects the script, the cell produces more viruses. It eventually, you know, usually explodes. The viruses stumble out and infect more cells. That's how viruses work.
Like, speaking of the RNA thing, like you were saying, though, just to interject for just a second. Basically, your cells, if you think about it in the way of, like, computers, right? So each cell, say the cell has the job of, like, I'm a liver cell. This is what I do. I just work on the liver. So inside its little cell brain, which is literally just a DNA and RNA strand, it literally all day, every day is like, fix the liver, fix the liver, fix the liver. Okay, all of a sudden, this cancer cell attaches to it, injects this RNA into it, and its programming has been changed to spread the cancer through the liver. Like, that's what it does. That's its job now.
Yeah, well, it hijacks the cell. Well, here's another thing about, you know, when a virus infects a cell. So, RNA and DNA, as complex as they are very imperfect things. They screw up all the time. They screw up on a daily basis. You know, you go through changes in DNA. I mean, that's the same reason we have cancer. That's the same reason that people
have hereditary
are born with. Yeah, I mean, to a certain degree, yes. It's basically just because it's genetic, you know, abnormalities, you know, in a part of code or something, they're completely random. And the thing is, too, like, they're not as concrete as people believe. You know, things come and go. Things get deleted. Things get replaced. Things get copied, you know, too many times, twice. You know, there's evidence of, like, you know, a gene being passed down, or, you know, someone having a child, and, like, part of their gene is just deleted in the child's gene, and it's just because that part, for whatever reason, was being processed something, you know, by the cell. The cell was using the DNA. Something happened. There was an error, and it basically just threw it out. It just deleted it. It said, "Okay, we're gonna clip off this chunk," or it meant to do something else, and then there was something that went wrong, and it corrupted almost, basically.
Well, that's
actually
the words that they use for my hemochromatosis is I'm double mutated. But what that means is both genes that, so what hereditary hemochromatosis is, for those of you that don't know, is it's an iron overload gene. So you have a DNA strand. There's two of them. There are actually three, but only two ever get mutated at one time. There's H93NY and C2Y2. And both of these genes control your iron in your body, and it tells your body when you have enough, right? It says, hey, we have enough iron, quit making it. But whenever
Right.
you're mutated, it doesn't know when to stop. So it just starts storing it through your body at random places.
Wow.
But it's
Yeah.
because those
Right.
genes are broken, they're corrupted. They don't know when to stop. They just keep going. It's like a light switch being turned on and never being turned back off again.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just it's a break in the program, basically.
Pretty
Um,
much, yeah.
well, and this all goes back into viruses because what can happen every now and again from constant infection, and you got to remember, like when somebody gets infected too, like your cells, like you have thousands of cells that get infected and thousands of cells that are you know yeah, affected by this virus. Um, very rarely, but it does happen on chance that a piece of that information from that virus, instead of being used, instead of being scripted into making more viruses, will literally be taken into the DNA and added into the structure, and or replace part of the structure. There's parts. Here's one thing about DNA. It's just like code. So in the same sense with code, it's like kind of like ones and zeros. But like when you're thinking about parts of code, what a lot of people do with like certain chunks, they'll encapsulate it. They'll make a packet or something. So in essence, you have a code in the beginning and a code at the end, and they signify this is the beginning of a section, and then this is the end of the section, and then the in between is the stuff that actually does something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Sometimes if that code looks the same as another piece or something else, if there's a stop code and a start code somewhere, and it skips over a stop code, or it misses a stop code or something, then that it'll screw it up. So sometimes like it might actually take that viral DNA or RNA or whatever and incorporate it into the DNA and replace a section or put it in between two things. So tying this all back into evolution, this is where it gets crazy. There are virus or sections of viral DNA that we share amongst a multitude of animals, dating back, for forever, as far as we can date back, and as much, information as we have, in present day animals.
Even more recently, you guys have heard of bird flu, avian
Yeah.
flu, mad cow disease, swine flu. The reason they're called these things is because they infect humans and the animal with which they're named after.
Right, and it's because that virus makes a jump to where it actually adapts. That's the whole reason, if you want to actually put it into perspective, that's the whole reason we have the coronavirus. And I know there's a lot of speculation on that, but the main reason is because when you are in constant contact with an animal, same thing with mad cow disease, same thing with the swine flu. If that animal has a disease, and say you have mad cow disease in 1,000 cows, and you have dudes that are processing those cows day in and day out, and they're getting blood on them and stuff. Out of those thousands of cows have, freaking each cow has probably, trillions of cells. So you got, gazillions of cells, however many cells that would be, and however many of them are infected. That's X amount more viruses. That's a huge viral load. That's a lot of virus. So these men that are processing the cows or whatever, working with the cows anyway, or people that are literally, let's say, I don't know, maybe they're eating bats in China. I know there's a lot of speculation behind this, but it's just a good example. They're eating bats in China, and they're eating bats in China day in and day out, like, for, years and years and years and years. And these bats, for whatever reason, are being raised in a enclosure or something. They're all coming down with the same disease. They're all getting it. So the exposure rate between the bats and the people goes up. you have more people being exposed to this virus for the longest time that's not affecting them. The virus enters the body by normal means, but one, it doesn't interact with the cells, and then two, the white blood cells in the body usually are able to get it before it can actually do anything. For a time. Because eventually what happens is, out of those gazillion interactions that this particular virus has with humans, it finally changed slightly, mutated, whatever, to a point where it can now infect a human. And so it does. These viruses, they don't think. They just are. They just act. So if it can do something, if it can infect a human, it will. It just will. There's no doubt about it.
But that exact reason is the reason why so many people say that herd immunity is a good thing, because, like, for example, with the common flu, like the flu you get every year, it kills people. You just really don't hear about it that much, but it does kill people. But herd immunity is a thing. I'm not saying it's the answer for coronavirus, but I'm saying it is a thing because of the fact that, like, if more people have had it attack their immune system and survive, then that means that more people are going to be able to, like, with the herd, more people catch it, more people survive, more people catch it, more people survive, until these immune systems get built up to the point to where it just doesn't affect you like it would when it very first hit.
Right. Well, and it sounds like a good idea, but I'll tell you the one thing that really throws that out of the window is just because people are just irregular. So what happens is you don't have everybody kind of up to date on this herd immunity. And so people are kind of coming and going and coming and going. And so not everybody's doing the same thing. Not everybody's in the same, and there's different pockets of herd immunity.
But that's the whole reason why the common flu still kills people. That's the whole reason why all this stuff still kills people.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I really don't have the answer because it's not my job to come up with one.
No, and to be perfectly honest, if we really did want to tackle something like the common flu and all this stuff, we just have to do the same thing that we're doing now with the coronavirus. It's all about, like, the limiting exposure and everything. And I mean, the fact of the matter is, people don't want to do it, and I understand that. I mean, I don't want to have to wear a mask. I mean, it does suck. That's not that. There's no doubt about that. Nobody's out there like, oh, great, I love wearing my mask. I'm so ready to go put it on and have to wear it all day long, But it's one of those things. It's like, it's the weigh in. It's like, what are you willing to risk? And I think if people are willing to see what happens and see how far we can make it, without having like something like a mandatory mask rule, it's like, that's fine. But I don't think that you should expect good results, is all I'm saying, because like something like a virus and everything, it's a force to be reckoned with, to be honest. It's not like it's not something that's just going to come and go.
The only problem with it is okay, so with the flu, we have a flu vaccine. But
yeah,
the flu vaccine is only really useful for the flu that came the year before.
Yeah,
the flu is a constantly evolving thing. And I feel like I honestly feel that coronavirus is going to be the same way. There's going to be a COVID-20, a COVID-21. It's just eventually going to get to the point to where it's like, oh, it's COVID season, like.
No. It's well, and that's what happened with the flu, and it's sad to say, but that's just the point we're at with that. The whole thing about the flu is, if we wanted to eradicate the flu at this point, we would have to go out to all the major, cities. We have to go out to everywhere. We have to get everyone tested. We'd have to make sure we know what strains of flu out there. There'd have to be a large-scale testing of the American population to see what strains of flu are out there, how different they are, how they interact, and then they would have to basically batch prepare, either different vaccines or some sort of multi-vaccine, which is when you get all the Karens that start to sweat, and because you got a multi-vaccine, and that's the thing, is it's like, then it just becomes unpredictable. I do think that to a certain degree, yes, there really isn't anything that we can do for the flu at this point.
I don't think that there'll ever be a way to actually really stop the flu, because even if you herded everybody up and you
Mhm.
took all those tests and you came up with a multi-vaccine, then the
Mhm.
very next year you're going to have to do it again,
Well, that's the
because
thing.
it'll evolve.
That's the thing. That would it would be down to the fact where literally every 3 months it would be National Go to the Flu Department Day.
Yeah.
That I mean seriously, that would be the level of
That would be the only way you could actually keep it under control.
yeah.
And even then, you have people like me who don't take a flu shot. I've never taken one in my whole life. Ever. And I don't plan on ever taking one either. But the reason is because, like, one, I'm already immunodeficient, so, sticking anything that has the potential to have a live virus in it probably isn't a great idea. And two, I've never taken a flu shot, and I've only ever caught the flu once in my life. It could just be lucky coincidence, but it also could just be one of these things where by not taking a flu shot, I also don't go out into the areas where sick people are getting flu shots.
I'll say this, for someone like yourself, and for probably a majority of people, honestly, I would say that you probably don't need the flu shot. You probably really don't. It would be something that I would say, if you feel like you should get the flu shot, I would encourage it. I think that it's not a bad thing to do, especially if you have access to it for free. And if you feel like you are safe with it, for instance, like you said for yourself, someone like that had compromised immune system, you might want to consult someone first, of course. But let me just say this. I think that the real reason behind inoculations like the flu shot and things like this is really more along the lines for people, I'd say almost like myself, and not to pat myself on the back or something, but just along the lines of I'm in service. I'm in
you go
public
out every
service
day, you
in
see
people's
people every
houses.
day.
Yeah, all around. I'm going up and down people's neighborhoods, talking to people left and right. I
Or
wear
like
my mask
being
consistently.
even being a pizza delivery driver, you should
Yeah.
probably get a flu shot.
Yes,
Like,
or wear a mask.
Yeah.
See, that's the kind of thing, and it's like, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's for the but it's if you are concerned with public health, these are the things that you need to think about, because these are the people that are spreading stuff. If you've got pizza delivery guys, field technicians like myself, doctors, even people like just businessmen, like high-profile businessmen that are having to travel back and forth, intercontinental, and going to big business rooms and having to congregate with, and then like politicians that are in big buildings with multiple other politicians,
or go to other countries all the time.
Yes. Those
Honestly,
people.
I feel like I'm just saying this, and I'm going to get into a little spiel here in just a second about my whole ideology. But if you are a businessman or a politician that travels internationally, anytime you go to these other countries, you should probably be wearing a mask.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and then on top of that,
well, just because there's bacteria, bacteria and viral bacteria, or not viral bacteria, but viruses in the air.
Well, yeah.
In places, say, like South Korea, that your body, if you are an American, has never been introduced to.
Yeah. Truly, truly. I mean, that's why you have people that go down to Mexico and they get sick, and it's because there's stuff even down in Mexico that it's different bacteria, it's different viruses than we're used to up here.
Well, it's like you go to South Korea or something, and you're a businessman, and you end up getting sick and dying there, and then the doctors are like, "That's weird. He just caught the whatever flu, and that never kills anybody here." But it's because his immune system was like, "What the hell is this?"
Well, and then, hear me out. We can talk all day about how, race doesn't matter, and people see past color, and I certainly do. But you cannot ignore the fact that racially, or at least, however you define it, people are different to a very small degree genetically, but for the simple fact that diseases do affect different people differently. So like, that's the whole thing that actually kind of I feel like came around. People were talking about this with the coronavirus, that it actually seemed to affect different groups of people differently, or different groups of races differently. Um, and it's for the simple fact that, certain viruses and certain things, like we as human beings, the whole reason we have races is because we have, pockets of people that are interspersed. I'd say not really isolated, but you have people over in, the Europe, kind of that whole area that are, physically very very different, and genetically as well, to a very small degree, different than people down in, Africa. And then even in Africa, the people in northern Africa, are fairly different than the people that are in, kind of Central Africa.
Well, but here's the thing, and some of the listeners are going to have to read between the lines on this, because I don't like to come out and talk like racial politics. It's just not what I like, because it hurts too many people's feelings. Mm-hmm. But let me put it to you like this: why is a snow rabbit white and a woodland rabbit brown? The snow rabbit is white because it lives in the snow, which gives it the best genetic advantage to survive in the snow from predators. Mm-hmm. The woodland rabbit is brown because its surroundings are dark green and brown, which gives it the best survival rates against predators. If you took a snow rabbit and put it into the woods, it would get eaten and killed.
but I was always taught that's how God made it. No, I'm kidding. No, but
well, yeah, I mean, if you want to, if somebody wants to believe that that's the way that God created it that way so that it wouldn't get eaten.
That too. That too. There's a reason. But the main thing that I'm trying to get at is, the possibility of going into another country and getting a disease that is not, I don't know, common where you're from, I guess, is very real, because we live in very different societies. Now, I'll say this: in recent years, that has become a not as big of a deal, and it's for the simple fact that we are a way more social race, over the past 50 years than ever before. Mm-hmm. So people constantly are in contact with each other, at least not anymore right now, but we're always, at risk of spreading disease, and we oftentimes do. Oh, excuse me. But there are still risks of, traveling and everything, and it's for this, like I said, or like we both said, for the sole sake of there's things that not everybody's immune to out there. So yeah, stay safe when you travel. That's the whole point.
And I know we've talked about this for a second, but I just want to give my little 2 cents on it. Mm-hmm. Guys, look, I'm one of these people that believes that the coronavirus isn't that much more deadly than the flu. I'm one of these people that believes that the coronavirus, if you catch it, as long as you take care of yourself and you don't just give up and die, or if you're not elderly or already sick, you're probably going to survive. But I weigh 400 pounds, I have asthma, and I'm immunodeficient. If I can wear a mask and not suffocate to death, you can wear a mask. If not for yourself, then do it for your loved ones so you don't get them sick. Do it for the other people in the store so that they don't get sick. Just take 3.5 seconds and quit thinking about your fucking self and do something for somebody else. If I can wear a mask, you can wear a mask. Put it on your face and quit bitching.
I'll give you a one up on that. If I can climb a pole with a mask on, you can walk into Walmart and buy freaking, some packs of sausages and some freaking, I don't know, coffee creamer or whatever else, and some hot dog buns or something, and not complain about having, and don't freaking be doing the pulling it down past your nose or cutting holes in the mask, like, and then like all these people complaining about the mask is giving them some sort of they're suffocating and they have a breathing condition and all this stuff. Like I
I
get it.
have,
It's
I
not the
literally
best.
have asthma. I
Yeah.
literally have asthma. If I
Hmm.
can't, if I don't die from it, you're not going to die from it. My grandpa has stage 4 black lung disease. If
Mm.
he's not going to suffocate and die, neither are you. In all honesty, and I'm sorry to get on a tangent here, but if you wear a mask and you feel like you're going to suffocate to death, perhaps, just perhaps, it's the amount of fat between your chin and your neck,
Mm.
and you need to do something about it.
Well, and I'll even say this just to leave on a nice note. Like if you seriously are wearing a mask and you feel like you cannot breathe properly, but you have to be, you have to get groceries or something. There is a multitude of options. First of all, I do not see, if maybe say you're elderly and you have a breathing issue and for whatever reason your mask is messing with your breathing, um, like when you're done, like, when you're shopping, if you're having an issue, go to one of the people there. Tell them, like, hey, listen, I'm shopping, but I need to step outside and take a breath. You know, can you just hold on to my cart and make sure that it doesn't go anywhere? And I'll be right back. And just go outside, take a breather, take a minute breather, put your mask back on, come back inside, do some more shopping. Or here's a crazy
get
thing.
Curbside checkout.
Yes. Or just freaking do that. I know. And I understand it. My buddy, my gray-haired pals out there. I understand it. The little screen with the little square buttons on it that go to Facebook and Twitter and Google that you have to carry around in your pocket. It's confusing. Whether you have the smartphone or the iAndroid or whatever it is that you're carrying around, your Samsung, LG, Google, Apple thingamajig. I know it's complicated. And I know it sucks. But there is a Walmart app. Just go to your grandson or your daughter who knows all this stuff because she has to do it for she has to learn how to do social marketing for her business or whatever. Go to them. Just tell them, I just need you to put Walmart on my phone, link it to my bank account, and just show me how to shop. And it's simple. You go on there, you click on what you want, you put it all in a cart. They tell you if they've got it, and if they don't got it, then then they're not going to have it there if you get there in the first place. But I do understand sometimes it does not quite work. So sometimes you do actually have to go in the store.
Or another option for those of you that are having a hard time, if you have this grandson or daughter, tell them to shop.
Yeah.
Sit right next to them on the couch and say, I want bread and milk and eggs. And they go, okay, and okay.
Yeah. And then if you are just too old and you have no friends and no family and you're too stupid to use a smartphone, then I don't know what to say, man. Just
if you are very old and you have no friends or family or anybody to help you use a smartphone, this is what you do. You ready? Check this out. You go to your neighbor's house. You knock on the door. You say, hello, my name is so-and-so. I have been your neighbor for such amount of time. I have no friends. I have no family. I'm old and I need help. And I promise you, they will probably help you.
Another place that you can always go, and I know this sounds crazy, but just go on Reddit or something. Like, well, okay, never mind. I'm thinking way ahead because I'm thinking old people. What is a good resource for old people that have like no? What if like okay, What if you had no connection to technology? Like
No, here you go.
the
I got you.
okay.
You either call Walmart and explain to them what's going on and see if you can get help, or even if you don't like using a house phone, drive to Walmart, take your mask with you, look at the cars that are in the curbside pickup, talk to one of them, because you're a little old person. They're not going to be mean to you. Talk to one of them and tell them that you don't have any friends or family and you don't know how to use the curbside pickup, and they will more than likely explain it to you and show you how to do it.
Right. I wonder, you know what would be great? It'd be a great business venture. Just like small time like cheap fee technical support for everything for the elderly. It's just like a toll-free number. You just call in and I don't know. Maybe it would have to be like there'd be a price to call. I don't know. Do they still do that? Can you get paid for people to call in or?
Yeah, it's
like,
a 1-900 number.
1-900.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
1-800 is toll free.
Toll free, right? 1-900. Huh? You have to pay. Is that like the numbers that people have for like dirty chats or whatever?
I mean, I guess, but I think also 1-900 is for like if you want to order, like, say, I don't even fucking know,
like a magazine subscription.
Yeah, like a
back in
magazine
the day
subscription or something.
Right.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I just remember that because there was this wrestling company named WCW. And they used to have this thing called the WCW hotline, where if you called in while the show was going on, there would be wrestlers on the phone ready to talk to you, right?
Oh,
and it was
nice.
It was like 40 cents a minute, but the number for it was 1-900-909-9900.
1-900-9900. Wait.
1-900-909-9900.
It's a lot of nines and zeros.
But with all that being said, at the end of the day, me and Cheese just love all of you guys, and we want you to be safe, and we want everybody to be healthy and okay. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. It doesn't matter if you're gay or straight. It don't matter if you're Christian, not black, white, orange, yellow, purple. If you like sleeping with zebras, I will question it. But it's just one of those things.
Just don't kick your dogs.
Yeah, don't beat your animals. Love each other. Be nice to each other. If more people helped each other, this wouldn't be a problem. But we love you guys. Just wear your mask and be safe. We don't want any of you guys to die. So, you know.
I think the important thing is really just this. It's just the fact that if you can do something, and hear me out, okay. And I know we just went through this whole we don't, we respect everyone, but just hear me out. Just because I know, in the great old nation of the United States, we have a large Christian population, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. I was raised Christian. I don't really feel necessarily Christian anymore, but listen, I'm not here to judge, but I know Christian teachings. One thing about what I've learned is a big thing that Jesus taught, of course, was selflessness and doing something for the, betterment of people around you and being a selfless person. Wearing a mask is a completely selfless act. You are doing something to help people around you for their well-being, and it's a way to almost tell people that you care about them. I tell people on the job site all the time, if they ask me, I say I wear this mask because I'm in and out of houses all day. If someone was to catch it, it'd probably be me. I wear the mask because if I got it and I didn't know that I had it, I wouldn't want to be the one to spread it. And you know what? Like I said before, wearing a mask, it sucks. It's not great. It's not fun. It's not it's not something that I prefer to do. But I do it because I think it's a good thing to do, and I think that it's a considerate thing to do. So I would just consider that. And if you wear a mask, I think Jesus smiles. So
Take it from me, guys. I am an ordained minister and a 2-time certified priest. I'm
Right.
certified in 2 different priesthoods.
Ooh.
If there is one thing you need to take away from this, it is because Jesus said in his one and only commandment, after wiping away all of the Old Testament, love thy neighbor.
Yeah. There you go. Boom. That's a good one. Yeah, it's funny how all these things are in the Bible. Here's one thing that always kind of was funny to me, like people that are very staunchly against Christianity. A lot of people that either A, they are raised Christian but they hated it so they rebel, or B, they just heard everything bad about it, or they had a bad experience with a group of people that identified as Christian. It always amazes me at how much they will just completely dispel the Bible, like it's meaningless, like it has no purpose. And the fact of the matter is, you don't have to believe every word in the Bible. That's not the point. And as a Christian, I think you should acknowledge everything in the Bible, but you shouldn't take it at plain value. And you also shouldn't be the one to, make your own judgments as to what they really mean. The point of the Bible, more or less, is really just a huge repository of stories and teachings and things that were played out a certain way to make a point, to show you some. It's a way to show people, I don't know, how to live in the mind of the people that wrote it way back thousands of years ago, whatever, in a godly manner. It's like this is what people should read if they wanted to improve their life. There's a lot of things in the Bible that I feel like a lot of people can benefit from, just as much as there's probably a lot of stuff in the Bible that honestly is probably, I wouldn't say outdated, but I'll say it does not apply as much as it used to.
Well, here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
And again, I'm a 2-time certified priest. My view of the book is anything from the end of the Old Testament to the beginning of the Old Testament no longer holds water as far as rules go, right?
Right, yeah.
Because everything in the Old Testament, selling your daughter into slavery, stoning gay people,
right.
Thou shalt not wear more than 2 types of fabric of clothing. All these rules were in the book itself, so if y'all are reading it, you should know. Right. It is said that whenever Jesus died on the cross, he wiped away the sins of all of those people, and in doing so, fulfilled the Old Testament, meaning it's done. The Old Testament is completed. And in the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus says, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and the greatest commandment, because he's replacing the 10 commandments. And then he says, and the second like unto it, thou shalt love thy neighbor as you love thyself. What he's wanting you to do is he replaced all of those commandments, all of those rules about slavery, gay people, murder, all this stuff. He's replacing all those rules, and he's giving you a new set of rules that says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Stop. If you can love your neighbor as you love yourself, all of those other rules, they work themselves out. If you love your neighbor, you're not going to murder him. You're not going to steal from him. You're not going to hurt him or his family.
Right.
Just love each other. That's all that he wants you to do. That's it. Love each other.
I seriously sometimes, I swear, I think Bob Marley was just the second coming.
I've actually had that talk before.
Really?
Well, see,
I
like
think
that's the thing. I'm not a priest anymore. I'm not trying to
mm,
sit here and pretend like I'm still a priest that's actively teaching in a church or anything. I'm not a priest
right,
anymore. I'm still
right.
certified because, like, once you're certified, the only way they can really take that away from you is if you do something bad. But
Mm,
I'm still certified, so I could go teach in a church again. It's just that currently I'm in a place where I'm questioning my own beliefs as a human being, and I don't want to teach people if I'm not sure if what I'm saying is what I believe.
I got that.
But for me to tell you all to love each other, I
Hmm.
say this because I mean it. Love each other.
Yes.
Stop hating each other. There's no point. Do you understand that whenever all of us die, none of us knows what's on the other side for sure? None of us know. So
No.
what's the point in hating each other? Just love each other while we're here. Let's all just enjoy each other's company. Yes, there's assholes in the world. Guess what? If they got shown a little bit more compassion and kindness, maybe they
Hmm.
wouldn't be assholes.
Yeah, and the one thing that I don't know that I just don't understand sometimes with all this is you see it so much. There's people out there that will attach to something, whether it's religious or political, um and they'll kind of make it their image, and they're it's some sort of beautiful person, and they kind of attach to an image, and then they have all sorts of people that support them and everything in this matter, and then they go nuts, and somebody power goes to their head and they get all crazy, but then everybody continues to support them. I kind of understand it, but I also kind of don't, because especially with political and religious views, it's different from like music or art or something that's very I don't know, very subjective, or it's people's taste. But religious and political stuff seems so much more um dire, so much more like concrete. Here's the thing: I think some people, though, they'll ride with someone because I don't know. It's almost because they see, like, oh well, he might not really be wanting what I want, but it's close enough, and I'm gonna stick with that. And maybe, you know, I'll just make my own little nook, and I can believe my way, and then he can. And it's like, why settle for that? I just don't see.
Well, I guess, technically, to speak really quickly on politics, we don't normally talk about politics, guys. So, but
Mm,
to speak really quickly about it, and I'm just going to use the two people who are up right now, right?
yeah,
Trump and
right, of
Trump and
course.
Biden.
Yeah.
I'm using them as example purposes. You can throw any name you want in here: Bush, Obama. I don't really give a shit.
Mm,
The people who believe the way that you just said, like, for example, like, I like Trump. He don't really agree with everything the way I see it, but it's close enough.
yeah.
The reason that they settle for that is because generally what the other person believes, so in this case Biden, is
Hmm.
so far removed from what they believe that this guy's closer. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
And
I'm not going to lie to you, dude, and I haven't lied. I've never lied to anyone. I've never lied to anybody in this friendship ever. I'm
mm,
not a big fan of Biden. I'm not a big fan of
hmm.
his beliefs. I've also said outwardly and in public that if he wins and he takes the office in January, then I'm never going to say he's not my president, because he is. He won. Congratulations.
Hmm.
But I don't believe with a lot of his political views, just because, and it probably has a lot to do with how I was raised, where I was raised. I'm not a
Mm,
big fan of, like, the whole I can believe I'm an attack helicopter thing. You know what I
mm,
mean? Like, I'm not against people who are in the LGBTQ community, but I'm one of these people who are like, lesbians are fine, gay people are fine, bi people are fine, trans people are fine. But I feel like a lot of these people, they go out of their way to be extra simply so that they can get attention. Like, oh my god, I'm fucking, like, I only like to sleep with people who dress in zebra pajamas. It's like, who gives a shit? Why is that a sexual orientation? Like,
I'll 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 say this. All of that stuff is so superfluous. It's nuts. And the main thing that gets me, like, okay, hear me out, because if you decide one day that now you have you're gonna change your preferred pronouns. Now you want people to call you Z, Zay, Zer, Self, Ziz or Zer, Zer, I don't know. That's fine. In my opinion, that's perfectly fine. Do you, man? Do whatever you want to do, dude. I don't care if you want to pretend that you're a bug that flipped on its back and all you want to do all day is flail your arms and legs in the air and then, push yourself back up. And I don't know. If you want to pretend that, if you want to wear a gimp suit shaped like a dog made out of leather and be led around on a chain by a woman in stilettos while she
that's
has
not sexual orientation. That's just a kink.
Well, and all I'm saying is, you do you, man. That's fine. The second that you start telling people that they have to be fine with what you do is when it gets out of hand. Because, hear me out, not everyone is going to be impressed with the fact that you now are going to be a completely different person or change your name or have different pronouns. And if someone calls you, okay, I'm just going to put it flat out as well. If you've got a big old set of boobies, if you just got freaking
like
massive jugs.
Like me.
Well, yeah, exactly. There you go. Well, no, well, but that, and then like say that, and then like you're clean shaven, and you're kind of curvy, and you got long hair.
What he's saying is, if you were born a female,
the people are going to come up to you and say, "Excuse me, ma'am," or they're gonna say, "I'm sorry, excuse me, lady," because
or they'll call you she or her.
Because if you look at woman in the dictionary and you look at a picture of a woman, if you Google freaking search woman, what's going to come up? Boobs, hair, face, eyebrows, or eyelashes.
I'm hitting image.
Do it. It's going to, it's got to be generic. Long hair, boobs.
Actually, within the first three was a black lady, which was surprising.
Oh, yeah. But they all look like women.
Good job, Google.
Women just, well, it's Google. But women they just look like women. Women have looked like women for, I don't know, maybe the past thousands of years.
Longer than that.
Yeah. Same with men.
Look at a female or a male monkey, and I promise you that you can tell which one's which.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing. If you want to have your own pronouns, if you want to be identified a certain way, that's fine. But if you are one of those that is going to blow up on someone because they came up to you and they said, "Excuse me, sir," blah blah blah, and you're not a sir, you're a zer, or you're a fleur or whatever, that is completely subjective to you. That is something that is part of your own bubble.
That quite frankly you made up, just saying.
Well, and then not only that, but that is in your sphere. That is in your... That is not in John Smith's, reticle. That's not in his mind when he goes up to talk to you. He's not thinking, oh, you know what? Maybe I should ask this person what their pronouns are first. It's easier for someone to just... "Hey, excuse me, sir or ma'am," if you say later, "Oh, you know what, I identify as this,"
Well, see, but that's the thing. Like, there's two different cultures going on here, because a lot of people in that spectrum where they want to have custom pronouns or whatever, they're going to say, yes, of course you should come up and ask somebody's pronouns before you talk. But if you come down here to where me and Cheese live, and you walked up to some big burly motherfucker that had a big beard and was wearing a ball cap, and you said, "Excuse me, what is your pronouns?" He's going to turn around and say, "Are you literally fucking stupid?"
Yeah. Well, and then, okay, hear me out. Here's another thing. So, quick split decision time. So, you get in a car accident. you're one of these people. You got your own set of pronouns, blah blah blah, and everything. You are, you get in an accident and you're bleeding internally or something. Something's going on. They, I don't know, for whatever reason they can't identify your or I mean they don't have like, well, I mean they don't have, maybe they don't have like, what your, I don't know, like they just have access to like your, yeah, well, I mean maybe they just have access to like they just know that you're a female because, or you're born female at least because
Your birth record.
your birth record or your DNA. They know that from, they can see the chromosome or something like that. Anyway, say it's something that like your injury was to let's say your uterus or something. I don't know. It's something where it's like some organ that's going to be different between male and female because we are genetic or biologically different.
Yes.
Like if a doctor took you in and set you up as a surgery as a woman because you had an injury that was that happened with women or were prone to women, something like that. If you identify as a man, like would you be I mean, like, I don't see how anybody in their right mind would be offended, and I feel like someone would be offended by that, by being like identified by a doctor as a woman if they identify as a man. But it's like, but hear me out. These are the things like, and then like the insanity too would be like, would this person, like, would you rather be operated on as a man than as a woman if it's something that is specific to women?
Well, see, but here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. People who are actually transgender, right? People who were born with the mental disorder, and I'm not saying that to be rude, I'm just saying it because that's what it is. A mental disorder where you were born a boy, but your whole life you're like, I'm a girl. I'm a girl trapped in a guy's body, right? Because that, and I'm not saying mental disorder like a disease. I'm saying like mentally you are disordered from your body. So, right. And you have that problem. The people who really do legitimately have that problem, they are completely honest with their doctors behind closed doors that they are transgender. And the reason that this happens is because of the fact that, say that you're trans, that you're a woman that turned into a man, and you go in and there's tumors on where your uterus used to be, or where it still is, but like you don't use it anymore. Right. So your doctor starts feeling around and he's like, I don't think that's a tumor because this is where a tumor on the uterus would be, because he doesn't know that you're actually born a woman. Now, if you're open with your doctor behind closed doors, I'm not saying you have to go on Facebook and be like, I used to be a woman, I used to be a man. But if you're open with your doctor about it and you're like, listen, I had transitional surgery not that long ago. I was a woman who turned into a man. He can say, I think you have a tumor on your uterus. We need to go in there and get that out before it literally kills you.
I guess the whole point that we're both trying to get to is like, biologically, like, you cannot ignore biology. And I think that in particular, the best way to put it is whatever you want to do socially, between you and friends and people that are close around you,
between you and your circle,
is that's perfectly fine. But the minute that you both start ignoring straight up like just concrete biology, and then also that and the boundaries of others and what they're willing to accept just as being an innocent bystander, it's really it's just straight up insanity. I don't see how you can willingly expect someone to believe the same thing that you believe when maybe 5 minutes before they didn't even know anything about it. You know what I mean? Like,
well, here's a prime example, and this happened on your Twitch stream. So I was playing Minecraft with Ariel, Andy, and one of Ariel's friends, right?
Okay.
And her friend sounds masculine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I accidentally called her a guy.
Yes.
And
Yep.
instead of blowing off the handle and being like, "You're a racist, homophobic dick," or whatever, she
Right.
literally said, "Hey, I know I have a more masculine voice, but I'm actually a woman."
Mm-hmm.
And I literally said, "Oh, my bad. I'm really sorry. I hope I didn't offend you." And from then on out, it wasn't an issue
There
because
you
I just
go.
called her.
There you
Like,
go. And that's how we progress. That's how it's supposed to go. I feel like,
and
I
even
feel
if you
like
have made up pronouns like Zimzer or whatever, right? I promise
mhm.
you, if you met somebody like me out in public and I said, "Hello, ma'am," or "Hello, sir," and you pulled me aside quietly and you said, "Hey, I know that I look like a woman. I know I look like a man, but I'm a man who prefers to be called her," then
Mhm.
I promise you I will do my very best to call you
Yeah.
her.
Yeah. Right. Just give it a chance. I just feel like some people are what it is they're so ingrained in this idea that like they are this way, and if anybody else tells them anything different, then they're completely wrong. Then it's like, dude, hear me out, man. Not only are half of the people in the world just idiots, but then on top of that, people are just lazy. People just don't want to people inherently are just in their bubble and they're fine with it. I mean, everybody that's the world. That's how we are. People are, they do what they do. They know what they know. Most people are content with that. That's fine. That's how the world works. Yeah, and then like if you expect people to just go out of their way to change the way that they see things or respond to things, it's like you that's like I said, it's insanity. You can't expect someone else to just, oh, you know what? I figured it out. I should talk to everyone and ask everyone their pronouns first, and I should have a list ready to go and know what each one means. Blah blah blah. Some dude from you know North Georgia, up where I live, where they've had like the same families living in here
Or
in
South
this
Kentucky,
area.
where I live.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like everybody knows everybody, and they've all been doing the same thing for the past 50 years. It's like none of them are gonna just start converting over and having any radical ideas anytime soon. But
But
the point, but you can make that, you can bring that on.
But
You
whenever I
know.
was in high school, there was a gay kid at my high school, right?
Mm.
His name was Trevor. He then,
Mm.
after he graduated, decided that he was not gay, he was trans, and he
Mm-hmm.
changed his name to Macy.
Mm.
At which point, I quit referring to him, except for in this exact sentence, as him, and she changed her name to
Mm-hmm.
Macy, so I only refer to her as her and Macy. All you have
Yeah.
to do is
Right.
pull me aside and say, "Hey, I'm not him, I'm her." I don't give a fuck
Yep.
if you're 7 foot tall with a beard. If you say, "Please call me her," like it would make me more comfortable, I'll be sure. It's not going to kill me to call you she.
Yeah. Right.
But if I don't call you she the first time I meet you, and then you blow off your handle and you're like, "Oh, you're a racist, homophobic dick. Oh my God, you're so horrible," then every time I see
Mm-hmm.
you after that, I'm going to make it a point not to talk to you at all, period.
Yeah. Well, that's just shit people in general. And speaking of shit people, and kind of to wrap up this stream, Boogie.
Boogie 2988. The shittest of shit people.
So he's got dental implants now,
Yep.
and he looks like something out of a horror movie. I literally I had a
We're supposed to
customer
be
the other
loving
day.
our
Okay.
neighbor here, dude. Jesus.
No, yeah. No, listen, I had a customer the other day, and it reminded me of this. And I felt bad for this lady because she was actually just old, but she I think she had some sort of dementia or something. But she was like chattering her teeth. So like she'd be talking to me, and she'd be like, just like you know, like chattering her teeth. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's weird, but like, and I don't know if maybe that's just something that happens. Maybe some people just they just do that. But anyway, like I've seen Boogie do that, and it just terrifies me. It just looks unnatural. It looks like a horror movie. I'm sorry.
I
It
mean,
just does.
I can't shit on him too much because I'm going to probably have to get dentures at some point or implants, one of the two, because with my hemochromatosis, it's made my teeth really brittle and they break.
Oh.
So I'm going to have to get that done at some point. But I hope that mine don't look like giant ass gopher teeth.
Well, and then didn't he just do it because
he did it because he never brushed his teeth as a kid, so they rotted out of his face.
Yeah, basically.
See, that's the thing.
Well,
I brush my teeth pretty regularly, right? Like, not as regularly as I used to, because my dentist straight up told me, like, you could brush your teeth 500 times a day, and that shit's still going to break. But there has been times, literally, where I would be swishing my mouth out with, like, mouthwash, and one of my teeth would break off.
My gosh.
So it's like,
Jeez.
What the hell's the point with that? Like,
yeah. Well, and then at least if anything, it sounds like at least your gums are probably very healthy. I know the thing about like people like Boogie is what happens is your gums rot away.
No, my gums are healthy. My teeth just break. They're really brittle.
They're very brittle.
But
that's nuts.
Back on the Boogie thing, did you see where he shot at somebody?
No, I did not.
Yeah, look up.
When was this?
Look up Boogie 2988 warning shot on Google.
Oh God, warning shot.
Yep. So basically, I'll give you a quick rundown while you look that up.
Right.
There was this dude. I forget his name. He's a big troll on Twitter, right? Basically. And
Frank Hassel, right?
Yeah. And he showed up to Boogie's house after telling Boogie like he was going to come to his house. Boogie said, "Don't come to my house. I promise you, if you do, you ain't going to like what you get."
Right.
So Boogie, this dude comes to Boogie's house, sits outside of the door for literally like 15, 20 minutes.
Wow.
Talking shit the whole time. And Boogie comes out with a revolver.
Yeah.
And points it at him. And then fires a warning shot into the air.
Wow.
Which, I don't know if you know this or not, but warning shots are illegal because they could hit innocent bystanders.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, shooting in public at all is illegal. Where does he live again? Like, do you know where?
Arkansas.
Okay. I mean, he probably lives in
Fayetteville, Arkansas, I think. It's one of the cities.
Yeah. Oh, so it's a city.
Yeah.
Does he live in the city? Do you know if he lives in the city?
He lives in a subdivision just outside of the city, I believe.
Okay. Because I was going to say, I mean, like, it's probably still highly illegal there, but I was going to say if he's in city limits, that's almost a federal offense, I'm pretty sure. Because you can't discharge a firearm in a public place like that. Like, I mean, like with certain population densities, it's just it's completely reckless. And yeah, like you said before, you could just kill someone that way.
Well, he lives in a subdivision. He could have straight up just shot his neighbor.
Well, that too. I mean, if he fires straight up, the other thing is, eventually it'll come down, and hopefully it doesn't just come down.
Well, he didn't
somewhere.
even shoot straight up. Was the problem? He shot out to the side.
Oh,
like it could have straight went into somebody's window and just ended them.
God, he's a very rational person,
Well, he's kind of an idiot and has been for a long time. So.
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny,
And I'm saying this from a point, I used to love Boogie 2988. And I've had conversations with Boogie, both on Twitter and in YouTube comments. And he's a really nice dude sometimes, but I swear to you, he is mentally unstable.
I think he has a problem with attention. And I think not only that, but he likes to be kind of on the edge of progress. Like he likes to get people behind him to make them feel good, but then as soon as he starts to get the feel goods, he gives up because now he's got what he wants. So like,
see, that's another thing too, though, is he come up during a time when doing politically incorrect things or things that would make people hate you on YouTube was okay because like any sort of viewership was good viewership. You know what I mean?
Right.
But now it's much different.
Well, and then excuse me. a little thing that I've noticed too about Boogie, just like you said, he used to have this air about him where he would, flip out, and people loved it because they would watch him flip out, and people, would mess with him, and he would, just go nuts, and he'd do certain stuff, or he'd act crazy. But then, like you said, he started to he kind of calmed down, and he doesn't do that as much anymore because it doesn't appeal to the public as much.
Well, that and he
but
gets demonetized.
I've noticed like he did this thing. What was that?
I said that and he gets demonetized every time he does it.
Yeah, well,
I said that and he gets
you
demonetized.
just disconnected
every time
for a
he does
second.
it.
Can you hear me? Hang on.
Well, hold on.
I lost Drew, guys.
Discord. Hello?
I lost Drew. I'm gonna have to go back into Discord.
I'm here.
Oh, you're here. Oh, I see you. Okay, sorry about that.
Actually, it was a RTC connection issue on my end. But what I said was he always gets demonetized when he does that stuff. His YouTube videos get demonetized.
Yeah. Well, and then the other thing that I've noticed in recently with Boogie is like I was saying, he kind of calmed down, and he's kind of taken a 180 for a minute, or he did at least for a minute, and he went on all sorts of like he was talking to like everyone. Like he went on the H3 podcast. He like would chat with other people. Like he was like trying to get out, and like he was trying to give everybody this air of like, yeah, I've been through all this stuff, and it's been really tough lately, and like I know in the past I've made mistakes and everything, but I'm better now, and I'm making a whole lot of progress, and blah blah blah. And it's like he's constantly trying to sell this thing about like, oh, guys, it's gonna be different this time, but then it just isn't. Like he's kind of just been the same way forever. It's just his marketing's kind of changed a little bit. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Well, do you want me to give you another little piece of information that you're going to enjoy?
Yes.
This shooting this whole thing with Boogie having a gun didn't get blown out of proportion until Keemstar got involved.
Oh my god.
Oh,
I just saw the picture.
Good old Killer Queefstar back at it again.
So what did Keemstar say about all of this?
He put both of these unstable motherfuckers into an interview with each other and let them talk shit.
Wait, so who's the woman?
That's from a picture that's from a picture of, and some of the people listening might know. Do you remember that couple that was like defending their house from the Black Lives Matter protesters and stuff?
Oh,
that's the wife from that.
Oh, that's funny.
I'll try to find the original picture to send to you. Hold on.
That's hilarious. Did you make that?
No, it's just one that I found while looking.
That's so great. What was I gonna say?
Here's the original picture. I found it. But it's this couple. They were defending their house because a bunch of protesters doing the Black Lives Matter stuff. They broke into their front gate on their property, like tore it down.
Oh wow!
And they came out with guns, and they were standing in a very funny pose. So people started memeing the shit out of it.
I just love how the woman's holding her little gun.
Wait till you see the guy.
I know the guy. Yeah, I see the guy's face. The tuck. Oh my god, he's still tucked in too. The tucked in button up shirt. He just looks like a total American dad. He's like, don't you touch my family.
It's so funny because I'm a pro 2A guy, but that picture still cracks me the fuck up.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
But, yeah, that's the whole Boogie thing, man. Like, but what are your thoughts about Boogie's rise and fall as of late? Because that's the thing I was wanting to get into with this whole law cow status. Because he went from being somebody that people genuinely liked to being a law cow, and then he went from being a law cow back to being somebody that genuinely people wanted to give a second chance, and now he's just went off the deep end.
Yeah, and I think it's all about that second chance kind of bull. And what I mean by that is Boogie, it's endemic with all these lolcows. Like they get a chance somewhere along the way, or people try to help them. But like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Boogie's even had some like weird run-ins with people, like fans, just like in like some kind of misconduct,
Oh
if you
yeah,
will.
yeah.
I mean, it's just been like, what happens with these people. I think it's really along the lines of it's like no boundaries. Like for whatever reason, I think especially for someone like Boogie, and I'll put it this way: Boogie rose to fame in a time where what he was doing on the internet and being on the internet and being a face on the internet, honestly, was just enough to propel him. Like
Yeah.
just him being there and being consistent and having I wouldn't say a gimmick, but something that people
No, it was a gimmick
watched him for.
because
Yeah,
Francis was straight up just a character.
yeah. I mean, yeah, you could say it was a gimmick. I mean, it's like he gives people what they want. He's he's definitely like got a brand almost of himself. You know what I mean?
I really
Um,
believe that the reason that Boogie started going off the deep end again was because of all the stuff that happened with like Mick Juggernuggets ending his series, and therefore the view searches for people freaking out and all that started to go away, and he didn't really
mm,
know what to do.
yeah, I'll say this. Um, with people like Boogie, the sad thing is there's a lot of people that will always expect Boogie to be someone, whether he wants to be that person or not. There's people that want Boogie to be the old Boogie. There's trolls out there that just want to see him freak out. There's people out there that genuinely want to help him. And I think the thing with Boogie is, like you said, one, I think he's just unstable. I don't think he is in a good spot. And I would not be surprised to see him get physical with someone and end up getting arrested,
Yeah.
just because he just can't control himself. I think that um, I don't know. He's like gone on so many crazy rages. Didn't he almost? I feel like didn't he beat someone up at some point, or didn't he almost beat someone up?
No, he's come pretty close a couple times to getting in fights with people.
He like there was one encounter that I remember where he was like just moments away from creaming some dude for something I can't remember. Like he was in his face about something.
Well, there's also
I
this thing too, right? Because like he cheated on his wife, supposedly. I'm not going to say yes or
mm,
no on that, but he supposedly cheated on his wife. She left him. He literally hooked up with a chick from a dating website, and she said he was a fucking freak behind like closed doors, like he was just an idiot. And
mm,
then hey, it's been proven that he's bought a number of prostitutes, and like
mm,
even had them on camera during his live streams, and he says in his live streams and all the time that he wants to kill himself and all this other stuff. And then whenever people
yeah.
get worried about him, then he goes on the defensive and says they shouldn't worry about him and that he's fine and everything's fine. And then a week later after that, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking like I want to kill myself." Like it's a
Yeah.
never-ending circle.
Yeah, and I think part of it too is like he's trying to get sympathy, of course. And he's feeding into like the idea of like, well, someone will come along and take care of me. Um, and I can see that from like his behavior too, like the people he's dated. He dated a feeder at one point, so basically just this woman just wanted nothing more than just to feed him all day long and make him super fat until he just, I don't know, had a heart attack, and then she got all of his stuff. I guess that's how that relationship works. I really don't understand it. But the point I'm trying to make is he willingly got into um a I would say a toxic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So he puts himself in these situations. Like it's not like he's, whoa, woe is me, woe is Boogie, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like he gets himself into this stuff. And sometimes I don't think he knows how to get out. But then on top of that, I think he's always looking for a new gimmick. So he just tries a gimmick for as long as he can until nothing else works, until he sees someone else do something, and then he tries that.
Yeah. Well, see, his wife got with him because, and you can say whatever you want to, she got with him because she felt bad for him.
Yeah, I could see that too.
And I think that she realized that the reason she shouldn't have been with him is because he's fucking insane. And then now he's doing this thing where he's like, oh, if I get enough people hating on me, somebody else will feel bad for me, and then they'll marry me and take care of me.
Yeah, and the sad thing too is, I feel like there are people out in the world that would still probably date Boogie. Like if someone learned about him and was like, oh, he seems nice, and you know, like I could take care of him and everything, and then, you know, he's not going to change. He would do the same stuff to them, and then I don't know. It's just, he's a great example of someone who, they don't want to put any effort into, I don't know, being any different, like changing themselves as a person. And I know not everybody should have to, but if you want to, I don't know, make a change in other people, sometimes you have to start with yourself. You know what I mean?
Well, that being said, we have given our surface thoughts on Chris Chan. We have given our surface thoughts on Boogie 2988. And I would like to continue this lolcow talking at the end of our podcast. So for the next one, I'm going to give you a choice. We can either talk about the biggest phony piece of shit on YouTube named Kid Behind the Camera, or we can talk about Wings of Redemption.
Oh my god. What is there to talk about with Wings of Redemption, though? That's the only thing.
Look here. Look, listen.
Yeah. Look. Listen.
No, there actually is some stuff to talk about. If you decide to talk about him, we can go into it. But, I mean, it's not like a super deep dive, but there is some things.
Mm-hmm. Well, and this doesn't have to necessarily be the topic, but how much do you know about Justin RPG?
Nothing, but I will find out a lot about him before the next episode, if that's what you want to talk about.
Okay, because I was gonna say, I mean, yeah, have you heard? Hang on, I gotta on my phone. I gotta verify this myself. Justin RPG. Do you remember? What was it? The I Love Reshiram song.
Yeah, I guess, kind of.
That was
apparently I have watched the Deadwing Dork video and introduction to Justin RPG. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's pretty great. Hang on. Oh my god, I forgot how many.
Oh, this is the guy that has the dreams about getting eaten by Pokemon, ain't it?
Yes. He's a what do they call him?
Agoraphobic or whatever.
Vor. He's a vorophile.
Yeah, vorophile. We'll talk about him next time if that's what you want to do.
Yeah. Rush the Ram. No, Justin. Justin. Yeah, I'd recommend just looking at him some more, because like he's been on the internet. I would say he rivals Chris Chan for his length of internet novality. It's just he's not as notorious as Chris Chan, and his story arc is not as freaking nuts. But the amount of weird stuff that he does is it like I said, he's up there. He's up there with the Chris.
So one last thing to talk about before we end here. The 26th is Thanksgiving itself. And normally we record on Thursdays, as you guys know. Are you wanting to record before or after Thanksgiving? Because if you want to do before, I was thinking that we could schedule it to release on Thanksgiving, so it would be a Thanksgiving episode.
Let me look at that calendar again real quick.
It's not next week, but the next week.
Yeah, but the next week. I would say, oh man, that's a good question. We could do a release on Thursday. So maybe what we want to do is do this. We could try to sub out. Well, what days are you free again?
Monday through Friday.
Okay, maybe
Except
we
for
could.
this coming up week. On the 16th, I have to go to the doctor's.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, on the 16th.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, on this. Okay, 16th. Okay, no, I'm not thinking correctly. Well, I was gonna say, what about the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, so the 24th? Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. I was just wanting to kind of put you on the spot on the podcast because if we were going to do an episode for Thanksgiving, I would want the people to know that it was coming out on Thanksgiving. You know what I mean?
Boom. Yeah, definitely, because this will be going out pretty soon. After all this is like probably tomorrow.
And another quick plug: we're doing Zelda Month over on my channel, Ocarina of Time playthrough. Over on Early Curly's Twitch stream, you've been playing what, Oracle of Seasons, right?
I played a little bit of Oracle of Seasons the other day,
and a little
I
Majora's
had a really
Mask.
good time. Yes, I'm still finishing up with Majora's Mask, so I'm actually I'm currently working towards the end of that game, and that will actually kind of mark the end of a kind of, I call it's almost a trilogy. It's more like a 2.5 game.
I count the Missing Link as its own.
Yeah, it is basically its own game, but in the realm of like between Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, it's such a small little fragment.
Yeah,
it's almost like a half a game. It's almost like, I think of it kind of like an interlude, you know?
Yeah, fair
so
enough.
It's a nice little, it's like a good like segue between the two. So on that note, I've got Ocarina of Time. I was streaming it August, and it is now all getting cut up and edited. So that should be up on the YouTube channel soon. So that's Early Curly Gaming YouTube channel.
tinyurl.com/earlycurlygaming.
There you go. And then so I got through Ocarina of Time. We played some Missing Link. Now we're in Majora's Mask. Played a little Oracle of Seasons. That was fun. But yeah, so I guess in a nutshell, there's a lot of content that's coming to the YouTube channel from these past streams. So a lot of Zelda content already up, and hopefully there will be more from Majora's Mask soon. I know I've been swamped with work. I know yesterday I got home at like 7, and I just did not want to do anything. It just sucked.
That sucks, man.
But I will definitely be streaming sometime soon, and probably sometime on Saturday and Sunday maybe.
And we have, like I said, we got Ocarina of Time going up on my channel. There's only going to be 2 videos this week, but each one's over an hour. It's because I have the doctor's appointments and stuff this week, and I don't have time to adequately record enough episodes. So we did 2 live streams. If you were in for the live streams, then you already know what the content's going to be. But if not, it's going to be new for you. And then we're going to be getting back to the Super Mario World playthrough at some point. But we have another game series coming up, and I think that Cheese is going to do it with me. We're going to be doing our first Pokemon Nuzlocke.
Yes. I'm super excited because I've actually never done a like a Pokemon challenge like this. I've always played Pokemon games traditionally, it's always been fun that way. I'm actually super interested in finally just pulling out like a challenge with Pokemon.
So it should be a whole lot of fun, you guys. And of course, as always, go check out their Twitch page at twitch.tv/earlycurlygaming. If you want to check out my stuff, it's tinyurl.com/heyimham. And of course, if you're listening to the podcast, you already know tinyurl.com/hamcheesepod. But check us out everywhere. We appreciate it. Go sub to their channel.
Yeah, we'll put a lot of these links in the description. So my channel, the Twitch channel, and Ham's YouTube channel, and everything, in your Twitch, and everything. We'll put all that in the description. And just go there and let us know how you like this. Meet us on the channels and let us know how you like the games.
For sure, for sure.
Um,
We don't always plug our stuff on these podcasts. We haven't in the previous 2 episodes that much, but uh,
no.
I've noticed that there's a fair amount more traffic coming through these, especially recently.
Mm-hmm.
So, we just want to give you guys the ability to find us other places if you're interested in keeping up with us and what we do.
Yeah, and the nice thing about going on the Twitch streams and stuff is, sometimes we talk about things that we're gonna do, and sometimes we talk more about other subjects. So, hey, I mean, if you like this, then you'll probably see more of it.
And you sometimes
in
get
other
hints
fashion.
about what's going to be coming up on on these podcasts because we'll
Yeah,
spitball
exactly.
a little bit before we bring it on here.
Right, exactly. But all right, well, I'll tell you what, we've been rolling for
Almost
I'm
3
just
hours.
about to hit I'm just now hitting the 3 hour mark.
Good thing we shortened it down from last time, right?
Hey, at least it won't be too hard to edit that video.
Yeah, for real.
Or this video, I should say. But yeah, I'll tell you what, we'll cut it there. And then when we come back, we will have some more topics to discuss. Like I said, we might go ahead and talk about just an RPG. But Ham, I'll have to send you some more stuff your way because I have a couple things that pop into mind that you should definitely check out.
Sweet.
Well, all right, guys. This has been another podcast with your favorites, Ham and Cheese. I'm Cheese.
I'm Ham.
And we'll let you go here.
See you next time.
Y'all have a good night. Yep. Well, I say good night. If you're probably watching this some other time, probably during the day.
Even if you're
doing
watching this
something,
during the day, I hope you have a good night tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Tonight, have a good rest of the day. You take care. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.